tinge of a Friday in what today looks like. But I hope that you are doing great. I hope that you are alive. Definitely, if you're able to watch me, if you can be able to hear me, that means you're alive. And I always say that's one starting point for you to say thank you. When you feel like all is going down, when you feel like you're not achieving what you want to achieve, life alone is a blessing that we always have to appreciate. Bantu Bange, let's learn to appreciate. All of us are going through some bit of hard time. Everyone has a hard time, has their own measure of trouble, has their own measure of hard time, has their own measure of so many things. So please, it is not you alone. There's so many of us going through probably the same that you're going through or totally different, but some people won't be able to show it. So if you don't succeed, dust yourself up, try again, learn lessons out of your hard situation, and just go ahead and move on. You can get us on social media at NBS TV, on Twitter, NBS Television on Facebook, Next Media Services on YouTube. We're live on Facebook. And you can also get to comment to us in the comment section right below on your Afro mobile app. And you can be able to pause just in case you're not available, but you feel like you need to really, really watch this particular show. You can get to record it and watch it later. That's what technology gives us. And Afro Mobile reminds us that the future is right in the palm of our hands. Let's start off with the most accurate news portal. You need news fastest in the most efficient way. This is where it starts from. Nile Post, an ignored but deadly condition. Postpartum depression. Yes, I can say 100 yeses. We've seen so many women die. We've seen so many women. Others think they've run mad just because they do not know how to look. One of the most dangerous situations of pregnancy or post-pregnancy is the first 3 months after a woman has given birth. Their whole body is just trying to get used to whatever happened to the body. There was another human being growing in there. And yes, we need to have a lot of support to, mothers who have just given birth. My guy rallies Buganda to participate in blood donation drives. I told you, ladies and gentlemen, that every normal, grown, human, male person can donate blood at least 4 times in a year. That's after every 3 months. And then a lady or a woman can donate blood 3 times a year. So please, save another life. You never know who you're saving today. Church of Uganda elects new bishops for North Kigezi, North Karamoja dioceses. You want to know who those are? As a faithful, please go to the nilepost.co.ug and find out some of those. Reverend Canon Enos Kagodo, elected 5th Bishop of Mukono Diocese. Congratulations to you, and may the best come your way. That is all I can be able to say at this particular point in time. Now, for the most accurate news, first make sure that you can log on to I almost said nssf.ug because there is a lot of NSSF news. No, it's nilepost.co.ug that you can be able to log on to. And of course, for those of you who need your passports, who want your passports, who desire to have your passports, remember there is a time, I think last year, where the passport office reported thousands of passports that had never been picked. Number one, you rush to get that passport. You pay whatever amount of money you need to. You inconvenience those who want to get their passports early, and then you don't show up to get it. Like Dalton said at one point in time that some people are just getting their passports for their churches, chitole kind of thing, because they know that pastor is going to say, you're traveling nations, and you say, you receive what? Sometimes we receive things that we know well, that we haven't even prayed for. We haven't even had any sort of, understanding and grasp of. Okay, you can receive whatever you want to receive in church. You will end up receiving people's husbands and wives and cars and property. And when you act upon that, you know what will happen to you. Now, passport, for every information technology system, there is definitely always going to be a system upgrade. I try to look at the passport system as that which is literally a 24/7. Of course, it's not 24 hours. The passport office closes at about 5 or 6 thereabout. But it is always heavy laden. It is busy each and every day. So it's going to be closed down for just 2 days. And I think that's today and tomorrow. Yeah? So by Friday, there will be a resumption. Now, I already have Ugandans who are quarreling. Shay, you have started quarreling for only 2 days, but also passport office. Do you open up on Sunday? I do not think so. Why didn't you think about doing an upgrade on days that are either public holidays or days that are close to a weekend, so you don't have to inconvenience so many people? Because as is, with this particular upgrade, over 6,000 people are going to be inconvenienced by this upgrade. But well, it's a good thing for any system, just like you will want to change oil, you will want to do service to your car, so is any machine, so is any sort of system that needs to be upgraded. So yeah, congratulations. Internal Affairs, does this mean that after that upgrade we'll have things a little bit quicker, some things happening a little bit quicker than they've been happening? Maybe yes, maybe not, but I can attest, by the way, to the fact that you can be able to get your passport even in one day, depending on the urgency, depending on the need, and depending on the fact that you follow protocol. Now there's someone there saying, depending on Gambanog. It is not Gambanog. I know that I had to renew my passport in less than 24 hours because I couldn't use my old passport. I had to cancel my flight and had to book the next flight same time, same day, the next day, and I had to go and get this passport. And trust me, actually, I was very, very much helped. And I managed to get my passport in time and be able to travel the next day in time. So depending on the urgency, there's always that, that bit of, not excuse, but there is always a bit of, flexibility when it comes to some of these government services. So for all of those who are going to be affected, apologies, sorry about that, but there is a system upgrade that needs to be going on to better serve you when we do open up once again. Moving away from there, the reason why I told you to log on to nssf.ug while I meant nilepost.co.ug is because I think we are yet to get done with the National Social Security Fund discussion. Now, the minister, that is the Gender, Labour and Social Development Minister, together with the Finance Minister. Remember, those are the two ministries, even under the NSSF Amendment Act, that are taking on the National Social Security Fund. Of course, the Ministry of Finance does get to especially advise on matters of investment using the fund monies. But also remember, the ministry is also a recipient of quite a huge chunk of the National Social Security Fund as part of an investment portfolio of the NSSF. 78% of the money, 78% of the monies that are present there. Remember yesterday I told you that NSSF currently has about 1.6 million savers out of about 234,000 employers who have to remit. Remember, you pay your 5% and then your employer tops up another amount and then it is remitted. That is still very low. Of course, there have been a lot of concerns with regard to growth of the National Social Security Fund portfolio. See, the kind of discussion that we normally have about the base, what is it called? The tax base not being, not being widened but deepened each and every other time, because the more new taxes that are introduced, than the number of, taxpayers increasing to a larger perspective. That seems to be what is happening in the National Social Security Fund, that we're depending on literally the same resource envelope. But I do have a 19-page letter, that very same letter that was tabled by Honorable Mwanga Chivumbi that we had yesterday. And while reading through this letter, I was just mesmerized, perturbed, disturbed. I was laughing through, not because I was happy about what was happening in those letters. There's so many allegations that did come through. I am thinking the minister and the entire team that wrote or, came through with this letter did quite some bit of analysis, but the question is what has been done. But also out of yesterday's discussion, the whole idea is not just about the monies and who has saved, but who okays these investment portfolios. For example, a mention of discussions about investing in real estate, which is a beautiful idea. Real estate and, coming in to meet the housing deficit. We have a housing deficit of about 2 million housing units each and every year. But if you are going to invest in an asset that is going to take a very long period of time to recover, and after that you're investing all the money, you do not even have the customers readily available, and at the end of the day each housing unit is going to be in sums of money not a huge percentage of Ugandans can be able to afford, what sort of investment is that? That means money is going to be there and lie idle and it is not going to be paid. Even the 78% that is given to government and spent on whatever, a greater percentage of that going to classified expenditure, you ask yourself, if government is having a debt rollover each and every time, that means there is a sort of a, not inability to pay, but there is a struggle and challenge to pay up the debts. That means money is going to be stuck there. It is not making enough profit. And at the end of the day, during the NSSF annual members meeting, we'll be told it is 9% interest on your savings because of COVID. What about talking about the realities of the investments and how much those investments have performed? I think in the next annual members meetings, that is the gist of the matter that we have to be paying attention to. But the two ministers have been summoned. Let's take you back to that story.
As people's representatives.
While chairing the Wednesday parliamentary sitting, the Speaker, Anita Among, revealed how she is concerned with the ongoing alleged rot at the National Social Security Fund, something that may discourage more savers to embrace the fund. In the letter, the Minister, Betty Omonji, also points to corruption scandals and finance impropriety at the National Social Security Fund.
Whether the savers' money is safe.
Following these allegations, the Speaker has now decided to summon the Line Minister, Betty Omonji, and Matia Kasaija to come and explain the current state at the National Social Security Fund.
Actually, not asked, ordered and directed the Minister of Finance and the Minister of Gender to come present on matters regarding NSSF tomorrow.
This government run by President Museveni and his brother and children, because a Minister of Gender writing a letter saying he's in Kapeka, appearing before General Salim Saleh.
I'm just asking, was it out of my communication?
You said the NSSF should come here tomorrow. And part of the problem is that you're inviting a minister, yet the minister is also appearing in Kapeka. So I am wondering if you are going to get Kapeka to appear here, because that's where the real problems are.
The Speaker's directive has been welcomed by the majority of the legislators, who argue that this will bring about confidence among Ugandans saving with the fund.
And it is important that the leadership of NSSF actually comes to the House and explains whether the money is actually safe.
So when you see
there is a lot of corruption allegations and scandals that have happened at the National Social Security Fund for quite a long period of time, dating back to the 1990s and early 2000s. This is not new. The appointment of Mr. Richard Byarugaba took place in 2010. Yes, it was 2010. He's been quite there for a period of time, and even his leaving is not any different from the leaving of many of his other predecessors. If you could clearly recall, in 1998, during the Alcon scandal construction, the Alcon construction scandal, where about $1.4 million could not be found. That was about 5.4 billion Ugandan shillings at that time. That was a huge sum of money, and that was under the stewardship or under the tenure of it was Dr. Abel, the managing director then, Abel Katembwe. And even when Abel Katembwe was actually ousted, and still it was under corruption allegations, because there was also another discussion about reconstruction of his house, which was sold earlier at 200 million shillings. And then when 200 billion, not million, we've stolen in billions for quite a long period of time. And then after the refurbishment, it was put at 400 billion. That was money that could not be explained. And he was replaced by his own deputy. And his own deputy, Mr. Barongo, then took over. But also it wasn't too long, about 3 years or thereabout, from 98, by 2002, Dr. Barongo himself had a scandal-laden leadership. And the minister then of Gender, Labour and Social Development, because we've seen the National Social Security Fund and the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development for a while. Then the minister, Zoe Bakoko Bakoru, said there was a huge scandal that was going on at that particular point in time, and he needed to be ousted together with the secretary, I think, to NSSF then, Mr. Kakoza, And over again, we've seen these scandals come in and out and dented. And this is what takes us back to the discussion that we had yesterday. Where exactly is the problem? Is it at the appointment? Is it at the monitoring and evaluation? Who monitors and evaluates what? And who appoints them in that position? And how do the servers come to rein in? Or do we only engage in discussions after all has been said and done? More revelations will be coming through in the parliamentary sittings. And trust me, you, as the Political Command Center, will be seated here and giving you all the details as they do get to unfold. I think this is the very reason why there were discussions about opening up the social savings sector. I mean, diversify, let private players come in. But someone was thinking, if a government player has failed, private, let's take a break. We'll be right back.
Program lineup brought to you by
Gatawa with MTN Momo Advance. Dial star 165 star 5 star 3 hash to apply. MTN Momo Advance is always available when you need it.
Explore, enjoy, and dance to the latest content, beats, and kawozi from Uganda and beyond. Simply go to your Play Store or App Store right now, find Afro Mobile, download it straight to your phone, and get started. Is it TV you want? Simply open the app, click on TV, select the channel you want, and watch live. Are you busy right now? Then check out On Demand or enjoy in your free time. Afro Mobile. The future is now.
And Martin Sankotos spills the ball, and just like that, self-destruct.
The new StarTimes Uganda Premier League season is here.
Straight into the back of the net.
Fresh. Watch more live games featuring top signings and renewed rivalries.
He literally has just vindicated his coach.
Uganda's Ultimate Football League also returns to a whole new dedicated channel. Watch the StarTimes Uganda Premier League on Sanyuka Prime. Brought to you by MTN, the official broadcast sponsor.
Welcome back, and thank you so much for keeping it NBS Television. You're still watching The Morning Breeze, your most authoritative morning current affairs show. And we're always here to give you the latest of what's happening in and around the country. All you have to do is make sure that if you're not in front of your TV screen, you just have your phone in your hand, because with the Afro Mobile app, you can be able to watch not only us, by the way, but so many other local television channels, over 30 of those, and over 50 plus radio stations, local radio stations. So we are sorted on content, well-curated news, but you can also be able to speak to us on that very platform. Give us those views, because you are. We're not perfect, and we would like to be better each and every day, and that is the reason that we encourage you as much as possible to come in and be a part of this. Now, the new year started. It started about 19 days ago. One thing that we know, at least all my years of my journalism career, at least the last about 18 years of my journalism career, there's been coverage of strikes as a way of communication, because in this case, strikes are no longer a lobbying format, not at all. Well, in a way, but it is always the last resort. It is always the communication that is better understood. And many a times after a strike comes through, what comes next? Let's go meet the president. Let's go see the president at State House, and then some promises are made, and then after those are made with the minister, line minister present, and then the strike is either halted or called off, or there is always a lot of dynamics, and we have another looming strike. You know why we have it? Because also we are about to get back to school. By 6th of February, many of the schools should be returning or reopening after the long break. Remember, schools actually also went back for their holidays about 2 weeks earlier, about a fortnight or there earlier, because of the hard economic times, but also there was a bit of a scare of Ebola. And, well, the ministry said for the schools that can continue to operate, please go ahead. Those who cannot be able to operate, you can be able to close. Now, arts teachers are threatening to lay down their tools. They want their salaries enhanced. If you do remember, there was such a strike in the last year, and it was about science teachers. They, you know, if it was the high school English, they would say they joined in meaning .com English, in meaning that they refused. They said they weren't going to go back to school until their issues were resolved. Remember, there had been quite a number of promises that were made by the president in several speeches, in especially being able to promote STEM, that is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and said we needed people who could be able to find solutions to the problems of the day, and the scientists were those very category of persons that we required in the country. But those promises hadn't been fulfilled for quite a period of time. So they went on strike, their issues were resolved, salary enhancements were promised, and I want to believe by now those salary enhancements had started. And no sooner had they returned to school than the arts teachers also decided to strike. But this time, there was no harmony at all. The science teachers were on their side because they'd received their buck, right? And then the arts teachers were also on their own side saying, well, we are teaching the same caliber of students. While the students are offering some science subjects, they're also offering some art subjects. Why do you want to cause discrimination? Why that huge salary disparity between the science and arts teachers? Not everyone can be a science, teacher or a science student. They reminded the president that he's actually an art student at that, but the president insists we need the scientists. And this time, they're threatening, and when they threaten, they wait when the school time is about to begin, because that's when it's most impactful, and that's the time that we will see the science teachers coming up and striking. I am just hoping that we don't go back in the same cycle. I am still getting to terms with the fact that the curriculum and the education system is settling in after the 2 years, disorganization that was caused by the COVID-19 pandemic and the lockdowns therein, with Uganda being one of those countries that had the highest or the biggest number of days of schools locked down, even while we had our neighbors like Kenya, Rwanda, opening up schools during the COVID-19 pandemic. And this time I'm speaking on behalf of the parents and on behalf of the students. But yeah, I know that many of these science teachers are also parents. They have children. And with the economic crisis, with the inflation and every change that has come through economically, well, you have a point, but I don't know whether there is any other alternative that we can be able to deal with other than a strike. Just thinking out loud. Well, you're still watching The Morning Breeze. Another short breather. When we do return, we'll get to more news, but also remembering, well, that Uganda yesterday had a performance with Senegal. For some of you who missed out on that premium sport, we'll be bringing you that and much more of the sporting details, but that will be after this break.
Get the most affordable 4G smartphone in Uganda from Airtel. Airtel. Now heavily discounted from 250,000 shillings to 150,000 shillings only. Yes! 150,000 shillings only to keep you connected to your loved ones.
Dial *175*94# to activate free 1 GB instantly and 100% double data on all weekly and monthly bundles for 3 months. Get one today while stock lasts from the nearest Airtel shop. With Airtel, the smartphone network.
Big Talk every week. Discussions around current affairs take center stage.
We need a political consensus first.
These discussions affect all of us and shape how Uganda is run.
How best are we going to correct things which are happening behind our backs?
And here at Next Radio, we take that very seriously. If you're looking for quality debate, holding power accountable and getting to the bottom of every issue,
this is the Big Talk. Good morning.
Catch the Big Talk with Kanari Mugume every Saturday, 9 to 11 a.m. only on Next Radio.
On URA, and that's what been one of the biggest undoings. Chance comes up here, heavy shot and a bounce in. Second bite of the cherry, and once again, similar shades of what was in the first half. The goalkeeper does his beat. The second ball, he's left all alone and totally defenseless, and he was running here by George Senkaba, who in that moment just seems to appreciate.
Brought to you by MTN, the official broadcast sponsor.
Keeping an eye on all your balance the old way.
I got this. yeah. Balance is. yeah.
What is he up to now?
*11.
Keeping an eye on all your balance with the My Airtel app. You have the power in your pocket. The power to see all your balance in one place and in real time. Unlock that power with the My Airtel app. Visit the App Store or Google Play now.
I do miss you.
All right, a very good morning to you once again. Thank you so much. We are about news here at the Next Media and the Next Media Pack and all the other sisters and brother agencies that are right here. Do you want to talk about organizing events and Nextcom? Nextcom if you're talking about digital communications, Next Production and Nile Post if you're talking about Accurate News, Fast Salam if you're talking about charity, Next Radio if you're talking about the newest edition of how radio is supposed to run, audio-visual, NBS, your political command center, NBS Sport gives you all the very best of what is happening in the world of sport. I can mention them ever again. Hillcom if you're talking about, digitalization and, transmissions. Well, we're here to give you the very best, but information is also an aspect that we pay attention to. And that is why we want to also get you back on some of the stories that the Nile Post has focused on, and you can go and have a deeper, in-depth read for yourself. Reverend Canon Enos Kagodo, elected 5th Bishop of Mukono Diocese, has said earlier on, find out the details of that particular story happening to you. An ignored but deadly condition, postpartum depression. That is one thing that needs to be paid attention to. And if you've been around any mother, at least for the first 3 months after giving birth, I kid you not, you have seen some of these things, especially aspects of, you'll find a mother just busting out and crying out of the blue. MyGirl rallies Buganda to participate in blood donation drive. Save a life today. You never know whose life you are saving. For as long as you're alive and well, you've not been on medication, you do not have any disease or chronic ailment, you're not in your periods as the ladies because you cannot be able to give blood immediately after that, please go ahead and donate blood. You could be saving a life today. And Church of Uganda elects new bishops for North Kigezi, North Karamoja dioceses, like I said. Find out who those are, and congratulations to you. May God lead you in the works and services that you are going to be paying attention to. Let's get back to Parliament. It is not over until it's over. Now, yesterday, while the Speaker of Parliament was presiding over the House, she expressed disappointment at the performance of some, accountability committees, including the Parliamentary Accounts Committee and the Committee on Statutory Enterprises, Statutory Authorities and State Enterprises, commonly known as COSASE. Now, why? Because she had mentioned earlier that these committees are not performing up to standard. For example, the Committee on Statutory Authorities and State Enterprises, COSASE, which had about 107 reports, had only outed less than 10 reports in the 6-month period. Remembering well that under Article 163B, it gives Parliament 6 months after the Auditor General's report is released. Parliament is given 6 months to be able to audit, to be able to do their post-mortem, and I'm putting that in quote unquote, and then give reports and give recommendations. But of those 6 months, and the Speaker said, please take it clearly, this is not to the person of the chairperson of the COSASE, Joel Senyonyi, who is my good friend, but it is about performance. I think you've been a little bit lazy. These are all her statements. Let's take you back a little bit to Parliament.
This is surrounding performance of the Parliamentary Committee on Commissions, State Authorities and State Enterprises continue to generate serious discussion in the House.
And failure for a committee to do its work.
While chairing the parliamentary sitting on Wednesday, Speaker Anita Among told the House that COSASE, as an accountability committee, has been the worst performing committee in the House in terms of processing Auditor General's reports.
And I don't want to say shame on us, the House, but shame on you, COSASE. It is you people who have failed. We have invested a lot of money on the committee. You get money from all the committees. I mean, like any other committee. We have put money in that committee, but we have not got results.
The Speaker says that it's unfortunate that out of the 111 reports COSASE was supposed to process, it has only processed 4 reports. The Speaker has now directed that all the remaining reports will be adopted by the House, meaning COSASE will have no business in the House until the new reports from the auditor are presented.
We are going to adopt all the reports and hand it over to Finance for a treasury memoranda.
When she was in charge of COSASE, they inquired into Bank of Uganda, just one entity, for over 6 months, because the Speaker Kadaga then even extended their term. Okay? So if you're saying Miho has produced 5 reports from 5 entities in 1 year, I'm lazy. You who produced 1 report in over 6 months, you're lazier. That's the reality.
Personally, as a member of COSASE, I lost interest in the committee.
In the same sitting, Fort Portal Central MP Alex Ruhunda disclosed to the House about the increasing corruption in the Parliamentary Committee on COSASE.
I could see whatever is being run in that committee. There are so many underhands. So I felt very...
Alex, are you insinuating that there was corruption in the committee?
Of course.
Do you have evidence to that?
Right, Honorable Speaker.
Do you have evidence to that?
Yeah, the time will come, I will unveil the facts here. I will come and unveil the facts here.
Ruhunda also revealed that some mafias are now targeting committee leadership, especially that of COSASE, to kill the Auditor General's report that has been processed by the committee.
What I have observed over time is that it is these mafias now, they have to see how to approach the different leadership of committees to ensure that their wars are concluded here in the Parliament. And this is a fact.
And I'd like to ask my brother, the Honorable Alex Ruhunda, to be calm.
All right, thank you very much. But I think, do we need to have some sort of amendment to the laws? Because if Article 163(5) is giving committee on, not only committee on statutory authorities, but Parliament 6 months. 6 months, for example, COSASE had 107 entities to pay attention to. 107 in 6 months, if you could try to do your calculation, how many should be dealt with each and every day? And well knowing the length of time that is taken for each and every accountability, each and every entity. You did see what happened with the Uganda Airlines. It took quite a period of time, very, very lengthy. Like Honorable Senyonyi pointed out, how much time did we take on Bank of Uganda? That was also very lengthy. But the leader of opposition took this in good faith. He said he took the feedback in good faith and was going to hold an in-house meeting to be able to iron out some of these administrative issues. It is a value for money audit going up for the accountability committees. Remember, these accountability committees are led by the opposition, but 99% of the constitution of membership is from the National Resistance Movement, the ruling party, well, because they are the majority in the parliament. So this goes a blame not to the opposition per se, because they're in the leadership, but the members too, because the leader is only supposed to steer the debate and ensure that something is done. But I believe, yes, money for audit, audit for money is very important, and stir up, the emotions to make sure that a little bit more work is actually done. Let's talk sport now. And of course, the sporting team is ready. Brian Tuka, Andrew Kabura, over to you.
Good morning to you, Mildred. Fantastic. It's great to know that you get to join us. Finally, welcome to the NBS Sports Studios. The good news, Mildred, is that the Uganda Cranes finally pick maximum points at the African Nations Championship. Yeah, you're right. The party is suddenly going to go on, and now we are top of a group that has Senegal and Cote d'Ivoire. Can you imagine? Big stuff, big headlines. And of course, Manchester United as well, losing a bit of steam in their chances of winning the English Premier League this season. My name is Andrew Kabura. This is Premier Sport. Good morning. Welcome to it. Let's start off with fantastic news for Uganda's football, because the Uganda Cranes beat Senegal 1-0 in their second Group B game at the ongoing African Nations Championship in Algeria. Now, the captain, Milton Karisa, scored the only goal of the game in the 33rd minute in a thriller at the 19th May 1956 stadium in Annaba. In an eventful affair, the Cranes goalkeeper, Allions Nafian, saved from a spot kick. The Cranes had their own penalty overturned on the other side by VAR, while the Lions of Teranga finished with 10 men after a red card deep into the second half. The victory against Senegal, who beat Ivory Coast by 1-0 in their opener, sends the Cranes to top of Group B with 4 points, having collected just one of their opening game against the Democratic Republic of Congo. Now, Milton Michos Radojevic will be a very, very happy tactician this morning, knowing that now the Uganda Cranes have a big chance of making it out of the group stages, something we have not done as a nation over the last 6 episodes that have seen us perform at another continental championship. And for those of you joining us for the first time, the African Nations Championship is a special AFCON, I should say, for only locally best players. So there were so many question marks about Uganda's abilities playing at this stage. But finally, the captain, Milton Karisa, getting onto the score sheet. And that means the Uganda Cranes top with 4 points. Senegal are second with 3 points. The DRC are third on 2 points. And Cote d'Ivoire, the Elephants from West Africa, are bottom of Group B on just 1 point. There is more action coming your way from the African Nations Championship today at 10 p.m. as Ghana will take on Sudan. The other game should have been Morocco up against Madagascar, but with Morocco's withdrawal from the African Nations Championship, that has been cancelled. Stick with us on NBS Sport this morning, because Tuka Brian and a big panel will jump deeper into analysis to look at that game, the starting 11, and exactly what the Uganda Cranes got right in a huge encounter. Let's talk a bit of money and sport this morning, because MTN Uganda was last night unveiled as the new Uganda Cranes partner, replacing Airtel Uganda, who have been sponsors since 2013. MTN have signed a 5-year contract with FUFA, we do understand, worth about 19 billion Uganda shillings. There was a special viewing organized by MTN of the Uganda Cranes up against Senegal game yesterday at the Serena Conference Center, and that is exactly where all the unveiling was. And in case you missed attending the event, then surely you did watch the breaking news on NBS and NBS Sport as the event was live starting 9:30 p.m. last night. So huge congratulations to FUFA then, and we do welcome MTN into football. They have been there, obviously. Now they are back to try and make it even better, including that kit. Hoping to get my hands on that kit very soon. But anyway, there you go, big story. MTN are back, the official sponsors of the Uganda Cranes on a 5-year deal. Let's talk a bit more international football this morning for you, because the technical team of the Gazelles, that is the national women's basketball side, have trimmed the squad to 18 players as they continue preparations for the upcoming Zone 5 championships. Now, 10 players have been cut off from the initial 28-player squad just 3 days since the team started residential training in Lugogo under the Spanish coach Alberto Antunia. The list also has Winfred Akelo from Miracle, Becky Longom, there is Sila Lamunu, Shadia Mbwali, Azida Nabayunga, there is Margaret Bagala, you can add Sylvia Nantongo, Farida Kadondi, there is, of course, that one from the St. Mary's Stadium in Titende, and you also have 2 players, the captain Flavia Flash Okelo from the JKL Lady Dolphins, and Maureen Moding from the JT Lady Jaguars, who have not yet reported to training because they are not yet in the country. Of course, a few days ago, we did speak to the new head coach of the Gazelles, and his plan was to make sure Uganda gets an identity. He wants to build a project with the national basketball side for the ladies, and he hopes his time in Uganda gets to be successful. But first things first, he's got to do well at the Zone 5 championships. A bit more football for you this morning as we jump away from the national basketball side. The Uganda Hippos edged the UPL side Bull in a friendly at the FUFA Technical Center in Injeru. Now, Kataka forward Emmanuel Mukisa scored the only goal of the game on Tuesday. The win is the second for the Uganda Hippos, who are preparing for the upcoming AFCON Under-20 Championship that should be next month in Egypt. The Hippos beat Ginger North United 1-0 on Monday, and will now face Bull once again on Saturday. The coach Jackson Mayanja made some changes in the starting 11 with the likes of Umar Rutalo, then Seidi Mayanja, Faizo Wabiona, and Ivan Asaba all having a chance to have a piece of action in that game. So, big result suddenly for the Hippos as the Uganda Cranes pick up an even bigger result at the African Nations Championship. More games coming your way today as Ghana will be up against Sudan at 10 p.m. But for now, we shall continue championing Ugandan sport simply by jumping more into that story. We shall be having a full house to talk about Uganda Cranes and that crucial victory over the Lions of Teranga. The captain, Milton Karisa, the goal scorer, pretty much the difference in that encounter over in Annaba, that is Algeria. That's it for Premier Sport this morning. Do join us here on NBS Sport for Sport this morning, because Tuka Bryan is in the building for all the analysis. And in case you're watching us for the first time, feel free to join us on DSTV. We are on channel 377. On Star Times, we are on channel 255. On Zuku, we are on channel 54. 34 is our channel for free to air. Or better still, as I always say, download the Afro Mobile app, because with the Afro Mobile app, you get to watch over 30 Ugandan local televisions, over 50 Ugandan local radio stations will be listened to. And of course, you get to continuously use your phone while watching all the entertainment because of the picture-in-picture feature. Afro Mobile, the future is definitely now. I'm Andrew Kabura. That has been Premier Sport. Good morning.
Good morning to you, Andrew. And yes, thank you for delivering the most positive, the most energizing, Premier Sport of all time. Talking about Uganda's performance. Yay! And this is the language that we all speak. It doesn't matter which color you belong to or which nation you come from, which part of Uganda when it comes to football or soccer or anything sport. Yes, we always come together and talk about that. That's Premier Sport, but in case you need to know anything else about sport, those guys are ready for you. NBS Sport is giving you 24/7 sporting discussion, and we're all about championing Ugandan sport. But let's get back right here at the Political Command Center. Ours is also take you across the country and try to find out what exactly is happening there. In Adjumani, there is rampant gun violence, and particularly if we pay attention to the West Nile sub-region, the question is, How do people get access to the guns and what is being done? Let's get to Martin Okudi with the details. Martin, good morning to you. Not very good news coming in from West Nile. How did this all start and what are the authorities doing about it?
Good morning to you, Mildred. I'm coming to you live from Jumani town. This incident happened in Kerwa sub-county, that is in Yumbe district. You remember we have been reporting about rampant gun violence here in West Nile region. And police says some of these incidences are mainly executed by unknown gunmen that normally cross from the neighboring South Sudan because of the porous nature of the border between Uganda and South Sudan. The 67-year-old man was gunned down before the family members in Kerwa sub-county. Police confirmed this incident. I spoke to the police PRO for Northwest Nile region. Let us hear from him.
Which happened in Kerwa sub-county, where Tumilia Charles was shot dead by unknown gunmen who were suspected might have crossed from South Sudan. But our police, good enough, they have responded. They visited the scene, but they failed to trace the suspect. The suspect escaped back to South Sudan with their guns, but still, up to now, our forces are still investigating the matter. And my appeal to the community is that even if you have built your home nearby the border line.
Mildred, what we know is that police recovered gun cartridges at the scene of this incident, and this is going to be analyzed during the investigation, that is according to police. But they have also requested the local community in West Nile region to be vigilant and also maintain neighborhood watch. Yumbe district is hosting the largest number of refugees in the largest refugee camp, that is Bidibidi refugee camp. There's been a continuous effort between the government of Uganda and South Sudan to ensure they put an end to gun violence, but some of these isolated incidences continue to happen. The 67-year-old, now the disease, crossed from South Sudan to Uganda to seek for safe haven as a refugee, and he has settled within the community, but unfortunately his life has been shortened in that nasty incident. Back to you at the Political Command Center, Mildred.
All right, thank you very much, Martin Okudi. Not very good news, especially when we're talking about lives being lost, but hoping that the authorities are actually taking this by the horn. Let's get to Bunyoro, and the officials in there are under probe. In Home particularly, they're being accused of abetting illegal sand mining. We know how precious sand is, yeah, making glasses and all that, but it has to be legal. There's steps under which this can actually be accepted. But if leaders go their way, you know, because of some bit of corruption, to allow what is illegal, remember this has an immediate impact on the environment. Let's get to Cuthbert Chigozi with the details. Where is this illegal sand mining taking place, Cuthbert?
Now, Mildred, this illegal sand mining is taking place on the shores of Lake Albert, and has been going on for quite some good time. And you find that from what we gather is that the district, the environment department of the various districts are not permitted to issue licenses of those mining sand at the lake showers. And that probably shows that this is being done illegally. And also even NEMA does not permit sand mining permits, because that was something that was halted a year ago, and probably whoever is doing it right now is doing it illegally. But of course now the district and also the sub-county officials in places of Runga found out that the sand mining is going on, and this is now where in Kijanga sub-county they went on to initiate a 11-man committee, probe committee, to go ahead and investigate who are these people doing this sand mining, because whenever they get the revenue from the illegal sand miners, they do not remit the revenue revenue to the sub-county accounts, and neither do they do to the district accounts. And probably they say that the production department of the sub-county and the district at large, those are the departments that are dealing in illegal sand mining, and now they want to investigate and find out who are these officials doing this. And once they have been found out, they want to see that they resign or probably go ahead and return the money they've been collecting, because if you speak to the sub-county officials, they say that sub-counties have been losing more than 100 million shillings of local revenue, which probably they would want to go ahead and run these sub-counties, which hasn't been the sake, because once they speak in terms of service delivery, you would find that the sub-county roads, which they are meant to work on using that money being got from this revenue, is not like, you find that the roads are not being worked on, which is actually worrying them. So probably they want to know who are these officials masterminding illegal sand mining on the shores of Lake Albert, because they don't care about the ecosystem. But if you speak to the environmental department of the district, they say they're not aware of anybody doing sand mining, and they've never issued out any permits. So whoever is doing it needs to be arrested. So we're waiting to see who are these district officials and to see what will happen to them once they are found out by the probe committee of the sub-county, which has been picked to see that they bring in these results, and have been given an ultimatum of 2 weeks to provide the results of who are these people doing so. Mildred.
Thank you very much, Cuthbert Chigozie, for that update coming through. I think we all need to be vigilant. That's very true. Not everything that is happening in our area has actually been sanctioned and welcomed and legal. Yes, we need to have that very, very keen eye going through. Let's cross over to Mbarara, where the Regional Referral Hospital has received a second CT scan. Anything in the right way for human capital development, for the health and wealth of the people is a very welcome idea. Let's talk about this good news with Alex Mugasha. Alex, over to you.
Well, thank you very much, Mildred Rice at the Political Command Center. Very good morning to you and to our viewer, live for you from here in Mbarara City, and particularly here at Mbarara Regional Referral Hospital. We are talking the good news, like you just said, we received another CT scan. What does this mean to the hospital and to the service provision? Joining me this morning is Mr. Harrison Kagure, and he is the Public Relations Officer for this very hospital. Very good morning to you, sir. Thank you for joining us. When did we receive this CT scan? Have we installed it yet? And what does it mean to service provision over here?
Yes, thank you very much, Alex. I want you to know that technological advancement and enhancement has not only shaped the IT, but also in the medical world. And you are talking about days when we used to use a CT scan that is only good at assessing bones. But MRI scan, I want to tell you that it's a superior machine which is very good at soft tissues. Yes, X-ray machine can give you a clear image. CT scan can give you a clear image, maybe possibly of a spinal injury. But MRI machine can give you a very powerful, clear image, which brings out all details. So what this machine means to Mbarara Regional Referral Hospital, it lays soft ground for making this hospital a national referral hospital, because I'm telling you, we have several X-ray machines, like mobile X-ray machine, which was quite critical, especially during those times of COVID-19, because remember, during those times of COVID-19, you could not move a patient from that sick bed to another ward. But this machine we have a dental X-ray machine which can scan your jaws. But again, this MRI machine, it's quite critical. And I can also tell you that we have been sending some patients to do MRI in Kampala simply because we did not have it. But now that we have it, I'm telling you, all that is going to be a history. And it is the only machine here in Western Uganda. Remember, our catchment area is 13 districts, but because of highly specialized services that we are providing, we are serving the entire region and also some parts of this region. So of this Uganda. So I can assure you that this MRI machine is going to solve a lot of hurdles that patients have been going through.
Well, have we installed it yet, and have patients started using it, and how many patients, for instance, use it on average on a daily or weekly?
Yes, I can assure you that installation is done, and soon we are going to be commissioning it. So soon we shall be using that machine. For now, we are still using that CT scan. And now that you have also given me this opportunity, allow me to try and clear something which has been going in public domain about our CT scan which we have been using, because some patients have been claiming that at times they come and they are scanned, but results take days and months. And I want the public to know that CT scan, when you undergo a CT scan, it's not a one army job, because those results have to be countersigned. Because you are dealing with someone's life. We don't want to rush and then we give out contradicting results. And also, allow me to tell you that when we do a scan on you, we first give you film, and that is the first report. Okay. And that report can be interpreted by a serious medical worker who went through a medical school.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Harrison Kagure. Mildred, and to our viewer, that means that this hospital definitely has got to improve the service provision as far as service delivery is concerned to the patients. And you've heard from Harrison Kagure, that one we can only wait to see whether it will be implemented as I said. For now, let me get back to you, Mildred, at the Political Command Center.
All right, thank you very much for that update coming through. It's a beautiful one to have, that magnetic resonance imaging, which deals with, when the doctor says soft tissues, you're going into the physiological anatomy of the body that can be dealt with. This is what technology has brought in, and we always talk about technology. Let's head over to Fort Portal, and particularly looking at the Rwenzori sub-region, and Julius Nabimanya is definitely ready to let us in on the story of a police officer who did shoot one dead in self-defense. Is it gun misuse? Is it self-defense? Could this have been avoided? Well, let's get to hear from Julius Nabimanya. Self-defense can be another discussion, but what exactly happened?
Well, thank you so much, Mildred. Yesterday, according to a police spokesperson, Vincent Twesige, they received information that one of the vendors in Kabundere market, this market just you see behind me, was holding a panga, threatening to cut his colleagues, other vendors. So they sent their officers to rescue the situation. And when they reached, this suspect who was holding a panga, Patrick Kwichiriza, also tried to cut the police. Actually, he cut the police. This is according to the spokesperson. But unfortunately, in trying to defend, officer raised a bullet that hit another person, not the one who was cutting him. He discharged a bullet, and the bullet hit another one called Junior Edward, 27 years, who is dead as we speak. He sustained serious injuries. By the time he reached the hospital, he died immediately. So this was unfortunate. These are two things now. The suspect it's not the suspect that was killed. That is one. Two, the circumstances under which the police officer, Gordon Mwebesa, raised the bullet, the police says they have started investigating on it. But let's first listen to Vincent Twesige, who later talked to the press, and this is how he told us.
Territorial Police of Fort Portal City is investigating a murder by shooting by one Mwebesa Godwin, a police officer attached to Fort Portal Central, where they had gone for lawful duty, and on information from leaders of the market, our central mayor of Central Division, and the Giso, where Kwikiriza Patrick, who had gone out of hands, got a panga and wanted to cut his colleague whom they worked together with. On reaching there, Kwizera attacked Wano Mwebesa Godwin, and on self-defense, he discharged a bullet, which got one Junior Edward, age 27, who has passed on by the wounds.
Well, Mildred, as we speak, the suspect, Patrick Kwichiriza, is arrested, is in police custody, and the police officer is in the hospital because he was also cut with a panga. And the police says immediately he completes his dose, he will also make a statement as the police investigates the circumstances of shooting. That's it. So what we now wait to see is whether the police officer will be arrested after the hospital. All the investigations, the findings from police's investigations will make him free. For now, that's what I have. Back to you at the Political Command Center.
All right, thank you very much, Julius Navimanya. Sometimes we need to respect these men and women in uniform. They are a part of us. They are brothers, our sisters, they are fathers, our mothers. They're human beings at that as well. So a bit of level of respect. You know, every time this happens, takes me back to the story of Ariong, if you do remember, the police officer who was stoned literally to death because it was a bad sport. There was a riot in town and, you know, someone just hurled a stone and it affected him. He had an injury. And unfortunately, it was a very sad story to report the aftermath. So let's respect each other and live in harmony. That's the best I can be able to say. Well, you're still watching The Morning Breeze. We'll take a very short commercial break and return with much more.
Program lineup brought to you by
Gatawa with MTN Momo Advance. Dial star 165 star 5 star 3 hash to apply. MTN Momo Advance is always available when you need it.
Big Talk every week. Discussions around current affairs take center stage.
We need a political consensus first.
These discussions affect all of us and shape how Uganda is run.
How best are we going to correct things which are happening behind our backs?
And here at Next Radio, we take that very seriously. If you're looking for quality debate, holding power accountable and getting to the bottom of every issue,
this is the Big Talk. Good morning.
Catch the Big Talk with Kanari Mugume every Saturday, 9 to 11 a.m. only on Next Radio.
And Martin Sankoto spills the ball, and just like that, self-destruct.
The new Star Times Uganda Premier League season is here.
Straight into the back of the net.
Fresh. Watch more live games featuring top signings and renewed rivalries.
He literally has just vindicated his coach.
Uganda's Ultimate Football League also returns to a whole new dedicated channel. Watch the Star Times Uganda Premier League on Sanyuka Prime. Brought to you by MTN, the official broadcast sponsor. Get it now. Get it accurate. Get it fast. Real fast. Like super fast. Super duper duper fast. No, it's not fast food or a really quick car. It's the most accurate and timely flow of news, information, updates, stories, and the stories behind the stories, and more, and a lot more. The Now Post. Get it and be the first to break the news. The Now Post. Accurate news fast. Is your brand attracting the right people, or are you lost on the web? Discover how to grow your virtual community and how to influence the influencer by signing up with Nextcom. We do online the way it's meant to be. We crunch the numbers, check the stats, and dig in to create promotions, activations, videos, and strategies to unlock your brand's potential and increase your online engagements. Maybe all you need is just to disrupt for a week. We got you too. We do the boring stuff so you don't have to. Nextcom, making digital work.
Omnipresent now to the Maverick Kasule. There's a body charge in there. The referee points to the spot.
I think on the replay, I think the referee could be right. If you see it from the back, I think we need to see the replay from behind. You see, he just pushed the man off the ball, and I don't know how. I think the referee could have a case here.
Take the lead in this game in what is being looked at as a controversial penalty. Sharif sends the goalkeeper sprawling the wrong way.
Brought to you by MTN, the official broadcast sponsor.
Good morning to you once again. You're still watching The Morning Breeze. We are 19 days. Am I right on the dates? You know, I have to test once again whether the date is actually the 19th of January. Like Simon said yesterday, I think we can start forgetting about January. For those of you who said January has 400 days, I think the 400 days are a bit midway or thereabout. Well, you're still watching your most authoritative morning current affairs show. My name is Mildred Tohaise, and he can't wait to speak to you. Right here, he's already seated on my right. Simon, a very good morning.
A very good morning. I met someone yesterday, and he reminded me that we were still in school when we were doing this show. He's since graduated.
Which school? Which school?
I don't know.
Depends.
I don't know.
Primary is school,
no,
secondary is school,
told.
university.
This is what I was told.
Yeah.
I was in school when you're doing the Morning Breeze. I graduated, married, I have a family, my kids are going to school, and you're still doing the show. Fine, we're still here. Meanwhile, I don't know why Uganda has not discussed the retirement of Wafula Chebukati.
Okay.
The IEBC chairperson.
Chebukati Wafula.
Yes, Chebukati. He's bowing out. The Chigundu. Who is our
just
own.
keep it to Wafula Chebukati. We know who he is with everything that happened in the last election.
So, as he lives with the checkered record, he's living with a big pass. He's going to earn close to 1 billion in retirement.
In Ugandan shillings.
Yes.
That's about 32 million Kenyan shillings?
Yeah, he's getting about 32.5 million shillings. In a cent here for and it translates our neighbors.
Anyhow.
We are in the East African community.
Yeah.
But look at the weight of our currency.
We'll get single monetary union very soon, don't worry. As you're still let's get to the Nile Post and try to find out some of the stories that you need to pay attention to. Some of the stories you need to put your mind to. Ruto claims there was a plot to kidnap or kill Chebukati. Now that we're actually talking about Chebukati, you remember even in his victory speech, he said the real hero of the election was Wafula Chebukati.
But it's still being disputed
anyway. That's a discussion for another day. Maiga rallies Buganda to participate in blood donation drives. Simon, how many times have you donated blood this year?
Not this year, not this year.
Not yet. Yeah, the year is still young. But an ignored but deadly condition, postpartum depression. I want to believe as a father you've experienced this.
Oh, yes. It's tough. It's really
You at that point in time ask, what is wrong with my wife?
Yes. We should honor mothers all the time. And I put hats off for men who walk into labor wards. I am one of them.
Do you walk into the labor ward or the suit itself and stay outside?
I stay in there to watch my product.
Njala, I can't.
No wonder I don't do DNA. Because I participate from day one. I work all the 9 months.
From the process making?
Yes.
I mean the making process to the incubation period.
Dear men, if you trust the process, walk into the labor ward.
Okay, no worries. Let's move away from here. I watch my products. Let's go to Mubende. I'm talking about products, by the way. In Mubende, remember we lose about 40% of produce in post-harvest handling mechanisms, which are terrible, you know, and that's where the quality of food is lost. That's where we get the aflatoxicity and everything else. This time in Mubende, they're saying, you farmers, you don't pay attention to your own crops, we will arrest you. Fred Sewaje, omulala yandirowooza nti kajjanja ebirime byange nze abikungudde lwaki atojja okunkwata nga sibiwaniridde bulungi oba sibitutte bulungi lwaki ekintu bwe kiti kizzeewo mu bbanga lino mu kaseera kano
neyanza Mildred n'omulabi wa NBS njikiriza nsooke nkubuuzeeko mu kaseera kano disitulikiti y'e Mubende y'emu ku bitundu ebisinga okulima ekirime ekya kasooli era nga byebimu ku nsonga lwaki abalimi b'eno kyekintu kye basinga okuteekako essira wabula bwe butukidde olwaleero nga kasooli ali mu kukala eri abo abaakeera okusimba ate nga abataakeera atandikiriza okulabika nga ali mu kwengera wabula abatwala ebyobulimisa mu disitulikiti y'e Mubende bagamba nti no tebagenda kukkiriza muntu yenna agenda kusaawa kasooli ng'akyali muto nga kino bakikola okwongera okutaasa n'okukuuma omutindo gwa kasooli. Twegattiddwako omukyala Nakibuka Esther nga yakulira abalimisa mu disitulikiti y'e Mubende agenda kutubuulira ku mulundi guno lwaki musazeewo okulabika nga muteekesa mu nkola amateeka okulabika nga abalimi tebasaawa kasooli ng'akyali muto.
Basawo ne bannyaba batuwuliriza amaanyi abanyanjudde dda nze Nakibuka Esther disitulikiti agriculture officer ow'e Mubende. Ekirime ekyakasooli mu disitulikiti yaffe abalimi bangi bakyenyigiddemu era nga tulina 19 local governments awo ezo n'eggombolola abalimi balima kasooli naye enkwata y'amakungula twagala okulaba nga tugakwata bulungi okusobola okukuuma omutindo bbeeyi ereme okukka wansi ey'akasooli era mu kaweefuba ono district local government yakola ordinance ey'akasooli era ng'entwagala okugisisa mu nkola kubanga eri abalimi abatagoberera mateeka abakungula kasooli ng'akyali nga tannaba kukala kasooli okukungulwa mu nnimiro yandibadde amaze okukoonoka naye abasinga mu byalo eyo olw'okubanga baagala okutunda kabeeyi kati akaliwo baddira kasooli n'amufuuyira eddagala asobole okukala amangu aleete akuuma amukube asobole okumuguza omusuubuzi. Basawo ne bannyabo ekyo tekikikkiriza mu mateeka kubanga kyonoona obulamu bwaffe. Kasooli ono atannaba kutuuka kungula buli lw'omukungula n'ogenda n'omuteeka mu sitoowa atandika okuwumba n'atandika okukola aflatoxins ez'obulabe ennyo eri obulamu bwaffe. Era n'olw'ensonga eyo tugenda kukolaganya wamu ne poliisi singa tukusanga ng'okola ekikolwa ekyo tujja kukwata ogende ovunaanibwe mu mateeka. Ate era kasooli ono bwe tumala okumujja mu nnimiro awo bonna abamukungula ne bamuleeta ewaka ne bamwanika ku ttaka nabo tugenda kubakwata kubanga etteeka terikkirizibwa kwanika kasooli mu ttaka. Kasooli bw'oba omujja mu nnimiro genda omuteeka mu kyagi mwanike ku lujjo olulina sementi teeka mu matundubaali. Tulina ne puroguramu eya SCDP eno yayamba abalimi bangi abagyenyigiramu ne bafuna amatundubaali amanene amalungi ate amawangaazi. Kasooli oyo kwe bandibadde bamwanika naye bw'oba nga tukusanze kasooli ng'okyamwanika mu ttaka naawe tujja kukwata tukutwale ovunaanibwe eri amateeka. Era singa tukusanga ng'olina sitoowa nga yetuukiridde terina bisaanyizo gambanga temuli pallets kw'oteeka nsawo erimu emmese teri well ventilated teyisa bulungi mpewo ebizimbe by'okoleramu tebiri registered naawe omusuubuzi tujja kukwata era tugenda ovunaanibwe mu mateeka kubanga gw'omu abeera yenyigidde mu nteekateeka ey'okwonoona omutindo. N'abaana bagenda mu nnimiro ne bagenda ne batwala obuuma okukuba kasooli ne tukusanga ng'okuba kasooli atatuuse naawe tujja kukwata tukutwale ovunaanibwa eri amateeka kubanga ng'emubende ekirime kyaffe ekyakasooli twagala kibeere nga kiri ku ntikko buli muntu yenna gy'avudde Uganda, Sudan, Rwanda, Tanzania ajja wano okusuubula kasooli ng'amanyi nti asuubula kasooli ow'omutindo.
Okay, tweyanze ge Mildred n'omulala wa NBS tujja kulabika nga tugoberera ensonga eno okulabika nga tugiggusa nkomawo gy'oli ku Political Command Center.
Wow, tweyanziza nnyo Fred Sewaje ndowooza abantu balina okuba obuvunaanyizibwa si kutwalira bintu mu ngalo olw'okuba kasooli wamuje mu nnimiro yo and that is it.
I imagine that subject is so intimate to you.
Extremely.
Yes,
extremely intimate because you know what?
Anything to do with the garden.
But also
and
not
maize,
just anything to
maize.
do. I know, yes, because I'm into maize production, maize milling and value addition, but...
Probably I should tell them.
That what? You should tell them that what?
I
that
shouldn't tell them anything.
That I'm into maize milling, that's a public secret, I think.
Okay, that's great. That's good. Good to hear that. But still, catching up on stories making headlines. Musajja wa Kabaka Farish Magembe agenda ddutu okuva mu bitundu by'e Kalangala awali abantu abaliko obulemu ab'emulugunya olw'okubeera nti tebasobola kwetaayiza mu bizimbe ebya gavumenti kubanga biriko amadaala ng'ate tebasobola galinnya. Farish, twongere emboozi.
Simon Wasayo tya Mildred Pozinala wa NBS enkya ya leero. Okusookera ddala bw'otunula disitulikiti eno ey'e Kalangala yemu ku ezo zoyinza okugamba nti ze zisingamu omuwendo gw'abantu abaliko obulemu nga bw'otunula ku population oba ku bungi bw'abantu bonna disitulikiti ey'e Kalangala obw'emitwalo 6 abakunukkiriza mu 7 baliko obulemu. Egyo nno gubeera muwendo munene nnyo okusinziira ku bibalo by'eggwanga nga bwe biraga. Naye bano ekimu ku nsonga oba oliawo gy'oyinza okugamba nti yeviiriddeko abantu bano okubanga beeyongera. Abanoonyereza balaga nti enkula y'ekitundu kino eky'e Kalangala ojja n'wesiŋŋaana nti bamaama bangi nnyo ababeera bagenda okuzaala tebasobola kufuna mukisa kutuuka mu budde ku malwaliro. Kale abaana abamu abo abazaalibwa mu maato abazaalibwa mu bizinga eyo nga teri ayamba mu bamulerwa ne bamayiriza nga bafunye obulemu oba oliawo oba olubeerera bwe bawangaala nabwo mpaka kuva mu bulamu bw'ensi. Naye ate era bw'otunuulira abantu bano okusinziira ku bwe twainteractinzeeko nabo bwe twayogeddeko nabo balaga nti bw'otunula ebizimbe ebisinga ebizimbiddwa e Kalangala nga district headquarter nga departments ez'enjawulo mu malwaliro ag'enjawulo kyakusomoza kyamaanyi nnyo nti wankubadde nga bano omuwendo gwabwe mungi naye tebasobola kubanga ate baccessinga ebizimbe ebyo okusobola okufunayo obuyambi okugeza ng'obw'amateeka obuyambi okubayambako mu kikula kyabwe nga olw'obulemu n'embeera endala bw'etyo nekibeera nga kirekawo ebibuuzo bingi nnyo ku ngeri bano gye basobola okuba nga bafuna obuyambi bw'amateeka obuyambi bw'obulamu bw'obujjanjabi n'obuyambi obulala mu mbeera nga olw'enkula yaabwe ate nga n'ekisinga obukulu nti abamu ku bo oba abasingira ddala ku bo tebasobodde kubanga bayambibwako nga bakyali bato mu mbeera y'okusoma kubanga nti okuva ku kizinga ekimu okudda kizinga ekirala omuntu aliko obulemu yeetaaga eryato ate n'obudde bungi okumuteeka mu lyato n'okumuggyamu kye batusobodde kubanga bafuna omukisa ogwo okusingira ddala mu bitundu eby'ebizinga. Kalangala erina ebizinga 64 ebibeerako abantu ku 84 byonna ebikola disitulikiti y'e Kalangala naye amaanyi gonna bw'otunula Simon gateereddwa ku kizinga kimu kyokka eky'ebuggala. Simon komeo gy'oli ku ntabiro by'obufuzi NBS Political Command Center ate obe ng'otwongerayo n'ebirala.
Tweyanziza nnyo Farish Magembe, and this is very common around. I went and visited, I went for the photo exhibition for Isaac Mwanguzi, our Rome. And one of the things he was highlighting was the plight of persons with disabilities. Apparently, even at the new taxi park, old taxi park, the newly refurbished old taxi park, there's no access for PWDs.
Many people never pay attention to ramps. Even when you go, I love that now in public buildings like hotels and some areas you will find washrooms for persons living with disabilities, the access. But there are others that are still doing it the normal way. And, well, Nudipo had promised that they would do a name and shame list for buildings and areas that can't easily be accessed, inclusivity.
I think the name and shame should also include persons who park, goons who park
in spots that are meant to be for persons with disabilities.
I'm sorry, I'll call you goons because
you clearly see it is outlined and then you park there.
Order. I think we should start doing that name and shame on top of the pothole expo that we're doing. And I think it's done quite some bit of work. KCCA is running all over town trying to fix, not fix.
We were told it's going to be a construction site, Kampala, and so it is. I'm wondering what Clock Tower looks like now.
Well, I don't know. I have no idea. But I think construction or upgrades of roads is supposed to begin on the 13th, or was supposed to begin on the 13th.
But there is traffic diversions in some particular areas. You would like to know what Clock Tower looks like. Maybe Hakim could give you an insight into what that looks like.
Oh, yeah, sure. Hakim, how busy is downtown this early morning?
Well, a very good morning, Simon, and everyone looking or watching NBS Morning Breeze. Now, I've spotted some tiny bit of confusion from the motorists that are trying to access the city center, as well as frustration from the UNRWA staff that are trying to do the good work along with SKJV contractors that are on the work of the construction of the Kampala flyover as we enter into day 3 of effecting of the temporary diversions into the city center right here at Clock Tower. And we were here earlier, and we've been able to see that we remember from the communique that was given out by the Uganda National Roads Authority, where they were trying to advise the motorists that are trying to access the city center, most of those that are coming from the side of Entebbe, to use the Lubiri Ring Road, and those or also use the Lubaga Road to access the city center, whereas those from Gaba were told or were advised to use the Mukwano Road. Also, motorists from Musafi area around Mengo Hill Road, they try to access the road. Try to access the city center through using Bench Wanuka Road and other access routes, as opposed to using the Queensway Junction, and that is according to the Uganda National Roads Authority. However, from the time that we've arrived here, we've spotted some of these trying to use the areas that they were advised not to use to access the city center. And one of those is the people to put in this place in order are not facing a lot of hard time, because the motorists themselves are trying to be compliant, because they are reminding them of the fact that they was really supposed to comply and adhere to what the Uganda National Roads Authority said earlier. And we can pretty well know that those that are coming in from the side of Wasafi could be a little bit out. It's called Sheik Road. So the stretch between Shell, the Shell that you're seeing right there, and ShopRite, it wasn't supposed to be used by motorists, but we have seen that happen today morning, contrary to what the Uganda National Roads Authority had said. So it poses question as to whether the directive or the temporary diversion has been effected to the latter. But the police officers that have spoken to us earlier told us that it is not just a blanket diversion. They are doing so in consideration of the circumstances that are available at play right now, because some motorists are trying to access that stretch, which they were not supposed to use right now, but they've allowed them because they want to allow the traffic flow to flow easy, or they want to allow traffic flow to be very easy. So you can be able to see that the motorists are still using that road. But otherwise, it still remains to be seen whether all this is going to allow for the final touches to be made around here. And I can be able to tell you that maybe later on in the day, we can expect confusion to at least cease, and the motorists pander to what the Uganda National Roads Authority and the many people from the Kampala Capital City Authority. Later on, maybe we should be able to see sanity return to this very road. As I return to you, Mildred and Simon, at the Political Command Center.
Well, thank you very much, Hakim Wampamba. Certainly, the ongoing upgrades or the ongoing constructions are going to cause some bit of disruption here and there. So that means if you're planning for your time, put in that consideration.
Do not be in a rush as always.
In Kampala, you can't predict how long you're going to take to get to town. Sometimes you can be held in jam because someone is passing. Traffic is held at a standstill for about an
people
hour.
will bump into each other and they will
Yes.
cause traffic jam for minutes and minutes.
There was a time I had a very urgent meeting somewhere in Serena, and we were kept at standstill for 46 minutes, solid minutes.
When the person is about to leave and go somewhere or come back. Yeah.
Maybe that's normal. So what else is trending? Anyway, thankfully,
NSSF is still on the radar because the two ministers have been summoned, Minister Gender, Minister Finance. So that is still a story developing. We can continue following up on it.
I'm seeing heads roll in this saga. Either a minister is going to lose it, or Byarugaba will go to Luzira.
Because you see, if you talk about the Chandi
It's always
Jam,
ended in tears.
it's always ended in tears for
Ends in
MDs.
tears.
If
No,
you talk
for
about
NSSF.
for NSSF MDs, it has always ended in tears. You can talk about the Chandi Jamwas, you can talk about the Kavembes, you can talk about the Barongo, Katembwe, I beg your
There
pardon.
was Katembwe, there was Barongo, there was Sempuma,
Yes.
Kakoza,
Chandi himself.
Chandi Jamwa.
It has always ended in tears, and it's always been about corruption scandals.
Maybe it's a good gamble. You get in there, eat your kamane, knowing at the end of the day, you go to Luzira.
Let's take a very short break. When we do return, it will be the
I'm not sure I
topical
love that
discussion.
job.
Which one?
NSSFMD.
Which other job
You're
don't you
cooked
like?
from day one. I'd rather be a hangman. Good morning.
Sent to transport to the wrong person. Here's how to reverse it with MTN Mobile Money. Dial *165#. Select My Account. Select Initiate Reversal. You will see your last 3 transactions. Select the transaction you want to reverse. Enter your mobile money PIN and you'll get an SMS confirmation that the transaction has been blocked from being withdrawn. And that's it. Please note, only transactions that haven't been withdrawn can be reversed.
Buying a Mercedes, Toyota, or Range Rover? Let World Navy make your dream car a reality by importing it directly from Japan. We offer cash and Stanbic Bank direct import financing of up to 80%, meaning you can secure your dream car with only a 20% deposit. We offer free pre-shipping car service, accident-free and mileage certificates for your peace of mind. Find us at Forest Mall Ugogo, Block A, ground floor, or call 0704 105 159. World Navy. Drive luxury.
Explore, enjoy, and dance to the latest content, beats, and kawozi from Uganda and beyond. Simply go to your Play Store or App Store right now, find Afro Mobile, download it straight to your phone, and get started. Is it TV you want? Simply open the app, click on TV, select the channel you want, and watch live. Are you busy right now? Then check out On Demand or enjoy in your free time. Afro Mobile. The future is now.
The Bundesliga returns to action on Sanyuka Prime. Watch Bayern Munich, Borussia Dortmund, Schalke, Werder Bremen, and many more of German's finest teams tussle it out for the title of champion in Europe's Supreme League. Look out for a combination of flair and the highest rate of goals per game as Sadio Mane, Karim Adeyemit, and many more exciting faces bring you a German fest of Football League action. Catch this and so much more exciting football action only on Sanyuka Prime.
Yeah, you're getting more than a ride. With each Faro swipe, you'll earn points as Faro Smiles. Convert them to airtime. Withdraw as mobile money. Transfer to a friend as Faro Smiles. Now, show your move. Keep riding to earn more Faro Smiles.
Well, a very good morning. Time for us to engage in the topical discussion. And guess who is in the studios this morning? The old man of the town, Andrew Mwenda, very seasoned, and the MD of Independent Publications. But I think the biggest now, the most prestigious office he's holding now is being the spokesperson for the MK Army. It's a little ambiguous, Andrew, and a very good morning. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. My grandson, Simon Kagwanjala. First of all, Simon, you're a very bad grandson. When your grandfather comes, you don't introduce him as old man of the town. For us, we don't come from the town. We come from the villages. Old man of the clan.
Of the clan, okay. Good to
you
see
have also to inform your viewers that I am your grandfather.
At 110.
110 years.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
What's in your office? Or, I mean, what are you speaking for about the man who is serving in the army?
No, first of all, I have told you before, Simon, that there is this broad, widely spread, broadly based disenchantment with the government, especially among young people, a specific demographic, what you call youth. They are dissatisfied. They think the government is detached from them. It does not listen to them. It does not engage them. They don't feel it serves their interest. These people across this country, young people, are actually admirers of Museveni, supporters or potential supporters of the NRM, and they have been looking for either succession or an alternative. The opposition in Uganda has failed to offer that alternative that can be attractive. Of course, Bobi Wine has offered an alternative that has been attractive but to that demographic, but it has been concentrated in Buganda. It has failed to cultivate national appeal. So across the country, from Arua to Busia, from Kotido to Kisoro, from Hoima to Mbale, people are saying, look, they are looking at Muhoozi as a person who offers that future. So this is a grassroots movement. Muhoozi himself has not been involved in it. He has not really been involved in it. You tell me anyone who can say he has held meetings with this group and the other for anything. So
yeah, but when you look at the tone of his tweets would only suggest
he has supported that movement using his Twitter handle. For now, he has not been as involved because he's a serving officer. So what I'm saying is, these people want him to be the spokesperson of their aspirations. These people created the Muhoozi Army. The Muhoozi Army, there is the original Muhoozi Army, there is a new Muhoozi Army, there is a whatever Muhoozi Army, there is a team chairman, there are so many groups, volunteer groups that have formed. And these groups are looking for an articulation of their aspirations, and they see him as a representative of those aspirations. Right? And those aspirations inside NRM. And they're calling upon him, please come, lead this movement. Now, I have been his closest friend. I've been close friend with him for 30 years now, since 1992. 30 years. So he asked me, if issues arise, can you be the one to explain these issues because you understand them very well?
So which particular issues are we talking about? I've really failed to make sense of what Muhoozi is up to. Are we pushing for succession politics, and are you one of the crusaders of this agenda?
Let me put it this way, that I don't want to repeat myself, Simon. There is widespread, broad-based disenchantment, especially among a particular demographic of younger Ugandans, let's say between 15 years to 40 years, who feel NRM is tired. The leadership of NRM have achieved tremendous work for this country. They have stabilized the political dispensation. They have sustained the economic growth over 40 years. One of the best performances in the world today. Uganda, if you look at the last 37 years, is the 11th fastest growing economy in the world. They have achieved regional, what you would call regional influence. Uganda is helping stabilize Congo, South Sudan, Somalia. We used to be an export of refugees, now we are a host of refugees. We used to be a source of instability, now we are the source of stability in this region. We used to be an economic basket case, now we are one of the best.
I'm okay with that rhetoric, but
I'm saying...
What would merit Muhoozi to be the next president of this country?
But I thought those qualifications are provided by the voters. Am I correct?
No, okay.
So I am saying
what creates
younger people in Uganda,
from the young people?
Yes, young people see him as the representative of their aspirations because they feel NRM is doing little to create jobs. Look at the infrastructure in Kampala, it has fallen apart. There are so many things that are not working. Even if we were to say, maybe given people's expectations, we cannot have sufficient opportunities to meet these expectations, at least we can do the basic one. We can maybe provide hope by having an NRM and a government that takes a series of actions that reflect its interest in the welfare and in the welfare of the people. And young people don't feel that the NRM is communicating to them.
So is Muhoozi out to dislodge NRM or correct NRM?
No. I think the Muhoozi Army's aim is not to supplant NRM, but to complement it. It is not to destroy it, but maybe to improve its performance.
Yeah, but how about talk of the national
and by the way,
movement
listen to this.
That is unfolding soon.
But to achieve that does not necessarily mean that NRM has to be removed. The Muhoozi Army can work within the structures of NRM to improve the performance of the NRM. It can work within the NRM maybe to ensure that there is succession. There are so many opportunities. Remember that the Muhoozi Army will not be having like the opposition in Uganda, a certain section of the opposition in Uganda, to have this one tunnel vision that there is only one way or no way. There are so many ways of improving Uganda. There are so many ways. You can, if the Muhoozi Army gains a lot of influence in NRM, it can influence Museveni in the direction young people want. You understand? So building its organizational infrastructure and articulating its message of what it wants for Uganda it can be done within the structures of NRM by reinforcing NRM's performance, and I think that's what it should do.
Yeah, but from
the Muhoozi Army, the young people out there, don't look at the Muhoozi Army as an alternative to the NRM. You should look at it as a complement to the NRM, seeking reform from within the NRM. You don't need to create 500 movements.
But you've also had schools of thoughts that suggest that probably this is a red herring meant to divert people's attention from what President Museveni has not accomplished, and then people get excited about Muhoozi. It's just a red herring.
But that assumes that somehow Museveni sat somewhere and started mobilizing these groups. I have told you these are grassroots movements. On my phone here, I can show you I get more than 500 messages a day. I'm a councillor, I'm a chairman, I am a LCC chairman, I am an MP, I am this, I am based in Kotido, Katakwi, Kisoro, everywhere. How can I contribute to the Muhoozi Army? I am an officer in the army, I'm a policeman in the force, I am a security officer, I am a businessman. Every day I receive hundreds and hundreds of messages of people volunteering to participate, to contribute. Young and old alike, rich and poor, educated, illiterate, male and female. So many people look at top. And why do you think they have selected Muhoozi? Because he has a very good profile. He has served in the army with distinction.
Okay.
Let me first tell you this. He has served in the army with distinction. He has held himself in the public eye with a lot of dignity and composure. And people, and two, he has grown up in power, so he's not going to be awed by it. And then, but finally, and unlike many of the pretenders to the throne, you cannot say he has not been involved in acts of corruption or abuse of power or mishandling of this and that. So he has really a stellar record.
Okay.
At least there is a record from which to judge him. He has
I need to hear this from the horse's mouth. Is Muhoozi standing in 2026?
But yesterday, you remember, he tweeted very clearly saying that if the father allows him to stand, he will stand, because the father is the commander-in-chief. He will have to release him from the army. He has to allow him to run within NRM. This cannot be just his own decision. What if NRM...
So for now, you are on an expedition of some sort?
No. The Muhoozi movement is not a movement about power. And that's what distinguishes it from these other movements of NUP and Defiance. It's about the improvement and reform of Uganda. The achievement of that does not necessarily mean, look, Martin Luther King was able to fight and deliver the most important legislations in America, the Civil Rights Movement, the Civil Rights Legislation, the Voting Rights Act, was he seeking power? 2, Mahatma Gandhi in India was able to lead a revolution that led to the collapse of the British Empire in India. Was he looking to become the Prime Minister of India? He refused. He did not want to. So the problem, I'm sure, I
so
see...
Muhoozi is the new opposition now.
The problem I see with Uganda's leading opposition politicians is they have one aim, to take Museveni's job. Unless they get that job, they feel everything has been lost. But the people in the Muhoozi movement are about improving Uganda. They can improve this Uganda by working with and through NRM. They can, either their chosen person, Muhoozi, becomes the president, or if he's not president, they use him to influence the father and the NRM to achieve those objectives.
So what I deduce from your submission is that Muhoozi
the
represents
Muhoozi movement,
the continuity of President Museveni, right?
Well, Muhoozi represents a very good opportunity to reform and improve the performance of NRM from within. Also the rearticulation of the NRM so that it can connect with young people to represent the aspirations.
But you've seen his distaste of the NRM, going by the tweets at one time.
That is a lot. I think that what you have done is to pick one sentence in 10,000. I'm sure if we collected the last 10,000 words Muhoozi has tweeted.
He's called the NRM a reactionary force. Hasn't he?
It has elements of reactionarism because of many of the failures that we are right now talking about. The fact that it is failing to connect with younger people. It's failing to develop a much more robust organizational infrastructure to mobilize young people around the future of this country, about a fresh vision for this country.
So Muhoozi comes,
so to that extent,
comes off as a force to counter the Bobby force. Because Bobby has a bit of traction among the youth.
The Muhoozi army,
he has a huge traction.
In fact, let me put it this way: the Muhoozi movement emerged because there was a big vacuum. The Bobby Wine movement failed to articulate anything. If you see, let me speak on behalf of Bobby Wine. Bobby Wine himself was on television.
And you're a member of NUP, for the record.
I am the president of NUP.
No, you're a member of NUP.
No. Bobby Wine and Joel Senyonyi stole the votes, rigged the election in favor of Bobby Wine. They did not know that they will go at the national level and also be rigged out. So they thought they could rig me out. They thought that the other ones with the tricks to rig. Anyway, jokes aside, let me put it this way. Bobby Wine appeared on television, was asked, what are your policies for Uganda? He said, the policies are already there. NRM has put the policies in place. 2, even the NRM 10-point program is my program. I believe in it. So the only difference is that I want to implement it better. That's Bobby Wine. Bobby Wine does not have an alternative policy agenda to the NRM. But actually, Muhoozi has an improved policy agenda of the NRM.
Just a second. You believe in Muhoozi?
My friend, I have known this man for 30 years. 30 years. So I know him very well. You can ask me what type of person is he. Let me tell you about Muhoozi, first of all. He has 3 qualities that I consider are very, very important for leadership. 1, he is an extremely good listener. You put him in a meeting of 20 people, everyone will talk and yap and yap and yap, and he will be silent.
Maybe
and listen to everyone.
He has nothing to contribute.
But the Bator have a saying that ninki aboha ngwakaragara kaki. The Banyankore say na kwato mushahu ngwaja kumpachi. That I am just touching my wallet, and for you saying, what are you going to give me? Why don't you wait? I am trying to get food out of the wallet. So I'm telling you about the quality of. He's a very, very good listener. So he is able to listen to people's views and really internalize them. That is one thing. The second thing, he has very good analytical skills, what we call cognitive intelligence. The ability to analyze a situation and cognitively, analytically, and give a good insight. So that is my second point, that if he sat in that group, people will talk and talk and will be listening. If he responds, he comes to speak, he will be very brief, but his insight will be profound. One of these days, I'm going to take you in a group where people will speak and you wait for when he makes a comment. He will be able to assess all the views there and make a synthesis of those views.
That's typical spinning. Moreover,
no
wonder you're the spokesperson.
But let me tell you the third thing about him. He has excellent social intelligence, the ability to sit in a community and understand, I'm a son of the president, I am this and this. Because if you I used to go a lot with him to State House. We are all seated in the gallery there at State House waiting for our turns to go meet the president. Maybe me and him have an appointment to the president. So, but the ambassadors, businessmen, ministers, he is magnetic in the sense that people, when they see him, they would come to say hi to the president. And remember, these are either ambassadors or ministers. So they would walk over to him. But if they walked over to him, he would stand up and give them this sense that you are my superior, you are important. Or if these Ugandan ministers and whatever, he would treat them with such courtesy that for a son of the president, he can act arrogantly or indifferently, whatever it is, but he would give them all the due respect. That's good social intelligence. The final thing, he has very, very, very good emotional intelligence to study people's feelings, moods, and react to them by making them feel appreciated, recognized, acknowledged, and comforted. So those three things.
On the flip side, if you are to be honest, what are Muhoozi's weaknesses?
I think that he's very restrained. He's very, very restrained. If I was him, I would have done much more forcefully to help my dad in very many things he's failing. He's very restrained. He's very disciplined in that sense. He's very respectful of authority. He's very respectful of authority. He's not a person who will break tables.
Mwenda, are you speaking for the job or you're just being honest?
No, really, Kagwanchala, this job that I have,
Yes.
I don't earn from it. I spend on half of this
you
job.
don't.
I mean, why would I?
You're paid for this.
Really?
Yes.
Bambi. You see, I think, first of all, Ugandans, I need them to know, Ugandans have this belief that politics is a very well-paying place. My own knowledge is that first of all, the news, just a moment, we in the media have reported that 80% of members of parliament are heavily indebted. They don't earn much of their salary. About 50% take home nothing because loan sharks collect the money at source. Another 30% take home about 30% or 20% of the salary. The MPs who earn a full salary are less than 20%. So clearly, at least we have evidence from parliamentary records and all this, that entering politics is a money-losing venture. Don't go there. There are few who profit from it, but there are very few. That is one. So all these people outside, they're fighting to enter politics thinking there is money, because every day people think that there is some money in the MK project. All of you guys who support MK, we are going to establish a system and an account so that we can fundraise money. It has no money at all, zero. Whatever money it has been used is by people volunteering. And by that, I also want to mention another thing. There are many people walking around saying, I am a representative of the Muhoozi project. Can I give us money from Muhoozi? Muhoozi has not asked for money from anybody.
Yeah, but there are quite a number of outfits. There is MK Army,
this is what I'm trying to tell the public. No one should come and ask you for money that is doing so on behalf of Muhoozi. We are going to set up a team and a system where you will know if you have to contribute to this movement. But these voluntary organizations, people go there, they are cheating others. So I'm sure people will exploit this to go to businessmen and others and lie, and that is danger. So the Muhoozi movement right now doesn't have money. The few people who have been doing work have been doing their own resources, spending their own time because they believe it.
Have you taken time to analyze through the tweets and how they portray your boss? The tweets, take for instance, I'll raid Kenya.
But Simon,
what kind of personality
this is actually
do
for
these
me,
tweets
for
portray?
me as a human being, leave me being a Ugandan, a friend of Muhoozi, whatever it is. What depresses me is how people are incapable of seeing a joke when it's a joke. Really, you think, does anybody in their right mind think that Muhoozi is planning to invade Kenya? He was joking. And people took the joke and made it as if it was serious, and then you ran with it. And
So that literally presents Muhoozi as a joke.
Okay, let me tell you an
himself.
example.
He's a joke.
President Ronald Reagan, I want you to go on Instagram or YouTube.
What serious stuff has Muhoozi posted?
Let me put it this way. The President of the United States, Ronald Reagan, whom I used to like so much, I am always on Instagram watching reels of his jokes. He had so many jokes, funny jokes he used to tell. You get it. George Bush had so many jokes. If a president doesn't tell a joke, or anybody doesn't tell a joke, that person is stale. Okay. Even President Museveni is very good with jokes, but listen to this.
Imagine a joke that would compel his father to go and seek pardon with Kenya.
It is not the joke that compelled the dad to do that. It is the public misrepresentation of the joke that put pressure on Ruto and other people in Kenya and Museveni to apologize. So I should tell you, I have contact with Ruto directly inside his office. Ruto was considered it a joke, but people in Kenya put him under so much pressure because they do not want to see the joke for what it was. They wanted to make it a serious issue. Because in politics, you guys who politics...
That the president apologized.
Yes.
So we are dealing
not
with,
because of
no,
the
we
joke,
are dealing
but
with
because
jokes of a
have...
person who has ambitions to lead the country, right?
Yes. So you don't want a president who jokes?
So he's a joke.
Okay, when I was coming to this show, what did I tweet?
That you're coming to meet your grandson.
Okay, what else did I tweet? I said everyone should watch the show. Whoever doesn't watch it, we shall revoke their citizenship and send them to North Korea. That's what I said, really. So, does anyone read that?
So
if
that's
people,
the caliber.
Assuming people came here demonstrating,
caliber.
hold a second, assuming, Simon, people here came outside demonstrating that Mwende is going to send us to North Korea because you are not watching the show with Kagu Anjala. What would you say? I'm asking you.
Is that the caliber of people who want to cause reforms in the country? That you
Actually, we need light-hearted leaders who can joke. President Museveni is very good with jokes. Very, very good. Very good with jokes. And I think we need light-hearted people. If you have somebody who's permanently serious, he never jokes, that's a dangerous person. I don't want to have that person as my leader.
Okay, how do you contend with the other force that is bidding for Muzei Tobacco Main? There is a huge campaign taking shape within the NRM. That feels threatened by your bidding for Muhoozi.
But you see, Simon, in every situation, in every movement, I'm sure, I hope so, even in UPC, DP, NUP, FDC, ANTI, all these political forces, there can never be unanimity of opinion. If an organization had unanimity of opinion, it had groupthink, I would tell you that organization is dead. So there must be different contending ideas, different contending interest groups, different contending social forces. That is what makes a health organization. So if people in NRM have disagreements, for example, there are young people who feel we need to reform NRM this way. They are the elderly and what you'd call the old guard seeking to maintain the status quo. That is healthy competition. You know, there is an ancient Greek philosopher called Heraclitus. He said strength is competition. The competition between individuals, groups, institutions, states, and empires constitutes nature's Supreme Court, from whose verdict there is no appeal.
Look at it this way. Are you eyeing 2026 or the earliest opportunity for Museveni to be out of power?
So, 2026, 2031, we are not, the Muhoozi movement, please, let me repeat it to you, is not about power. That's what I understand. You can ask, what is strategic goal? The strategic goal is to offer a new deal for Uganda. There are so many ways that deal can be achieved. Directly promoting Muhoozi and maybe creating such a movement that President Museveni says, okay, we have left NRM, let him run. And he runs and wins inside the NRM is one option. The other, the Muhoozi movement can become such a powerful movement.
I think you're dealing with a lot of ambiguity because on the other side, we have the commanders who are saying, come rain, come sunshine, Muhoozi will be the next president.
Yes, but
that's the campaign
so you don't want them
championing.
Yes, you don't want them to have that.
I was saying it's not necessarily about presidency 2031. You're not clear.
Okay, so why did Muhoozi appoint a spokesperson, you think?
To deal with strategic ambiguity.
Not strategic ambiguity. What I can say is at least to have the movement have a clear definition of its aims, goals, and strategies. Now, within the movement, there are people who think he should run in 2026. He has said for him to run in 2026, he would need his father to approve of it. You get it? But overall, I want to say that the Muhoozi movement, at its core, is not a movement about power. It's a movement about a new, democratic, and prosperous Uganda. One that is organically connected, especially to young people. One that believes that the commanding heights of this economy, one that should facilitate greater participation of Ugandans in the commanding heights of this economy. One that ensures that we have a city that has proper infrastructure. I mean, you live in Kampala, you see what is happening. You see, so there are many deficiencies of Uganda, that the Move's movement, one that should be able to create jobs for young people, one that should be able to mobilize young people through sports. And General Muhoozi has talked about all this. Now, let me tell you this, Kagwanjala. This country and its elites are so obsessed with power as the be-all and end-all. And I think that's where we lose the game. And I want to say that you don't need to be president to make a significant contribution to Uganda. Let me tell you, even Bobby Wine does not need to capture state power. He can achieve so much by putting pressure on NRM. He can put pressure on NRM by demonstration on the streets. He can put pressure on NRM through directly going with Lupo. But hold a second, Kagwanjala. If I was Bobby Wine, why I think that Bobby Wine and Besigye have a limited vision of Uganda. They have only one vision, to be president. That's it. And they think that the presidency will solve everything. I believe that to achieve different objectives for Uganda, you can struggle, if possible, capture the presidency and capture power, in which case you have freedom of action. But when you're in power, you're constrained by so many... Hold a second, please. You are constrained by so many things as president. Museveni is constrained by so many factors. That is one. So power is not everything. Two, you can demonstrate on the streets, rigorous debate in parliament, and push NRM towards particular ends. As a journalist, I have been to court and up to the Supreme Court and have gotten judgments that have defended media freedom. I do not need to be president to promote the cause of press freedom. No. Three, you can directly use your influence as Besigye, as Bobby Wine, as whoever, to go to State House, discuss with the president, negotiate with NRM particular goals that you want to see. You may not, in these negotiations, can't you hold and listen?
I think I can't hold anymore.
Yes, because I want to show you the different ways through which you can achieve your goals. Power is one of them and very critical, but it's not the only one. Assuming, let me give you an example. I just been in Israel there. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was trying to build a coalition of different political parties to join with him to form a government. Those political parties are not the ones going to produce a prime minister, but they are going to form a coalition, and in that coalition they will not get 100% of what they want. They may get 20%. That is what they call, there is an English saying, that half a loaf is better than none. I disagree with the politics of Uganda's radical opposition, because there are opposition politicians like Jim Akena, the son of Obote, there is Norbert Mao. I don't know about Mugisha Muntu, but there are many politicians in the opposition who are willing to negotiate and contribute within the NRM, but retain the identity. Do you see? So the Muhoozi movement, I want you to understand it that way, that its aim is not power per se. Its aim, and as I've said, the strategic aim in command, in the military, if you go to do a cadet course, what is the first lesson you learn for command? Is selection and maintenance of the aim. You must define what your aim is and maintain it. That's the most important principle of command.
Yeah, but look, Mwenda, what would happen if Muhoozi, or would Muhoozi run competently with others if he didn't have the vantage points of the army and the state infrastructure?
So it is like you're saying that
he's prepared by the army and the state.
What would happen if John Smith stood as an independent candidate in the US election without the advantage of the Republican Party or the Democratic Party? There are certain inherited advantages that we cannot wish away. The fact that Zanu Museveni gives him a brand name that you cannot have. You get it? Bobby Wine. What if Bobby Wine was to run without the history of him being a great musician who was admired by so many? It's a moot point. Okay. You see what I mean? There are certain advantages Muhoozi comes with. The support of the infrastructure of the NRM,
the state,
the profile he has cultivated
in
the army,
the state.
The alliance of the NRM with the state. You get it? All these are advantages, we can't wish them away. The fact that he's son of the president, can you wish it away? The fact that Bobby Wine was a great musician. It is like asking Senyonyi, isn't he the spokesperson of Bobby Wine? What if Bobby Wine had to come into this election without a history of him having been a musician? Maybe no one would have recognized him. He came with that advantage in music, which had given him a national and regional profile as a great musician.
Luckily, you're a spokesperson, and you come from the background of media. The New York Times described Muhoozi as a wild card. What does this mean to you?
The poor New York Times. But I was not surprised. The New York Times, although the person who wrote the story is a Kenyan Somali, he was purveying the prejudices of the Western world that they project on Africa, and which we Africans have also internalized and see ourselves in that light. Have you ever read any story in the Western media about Africa? Largely, the stories are first, famine, hunger, war, death, poverty. How do you read a positive story about Africa? Two, Who is the African they represent? Either he's a warlord killing insanely, he's a corrupt bureaucrat or politician who oppresses his own people. If they are to represent a good African, he will be a human rights activist who has run to exile, running from his own government. He will be a battered opposition politician. Apparently, they claim will be fighting for democracy. In other words, the whole way of presenting Africa to the Western world is to cultivate this Africa as a place of despair, helplessness, that needs external intervention for it to stand on its own. So this young man, this Kenyan, whom I have met a couple of times and have had many discussions, he represents that African elite who has internalized European, I could even say white, quote-unquote, prejudices about Africa, and he purveys those prejudices. It isn't that he was conveying knowledge. He was purveying those prejudices, which we Africans, and I must blame ourselves, we have internalized. We are a problem to ourselves. Look, the great anti-apartheid activist Steve Biko said that the greatest weapon in the hands of an oppressor is not his army, his weapons, his guns, and all this. It is the mind of the oppressed. The ability to make the oppressed, to capture the mind of the oppressed. What Bob Marley called mental slavery. That we must liberate ourselves from mental slavery.
Andrew,
colonialism was internalized by Africans, and we accept this inferior position we're given to us. Just read the tweet and see how...
Andrew, as we take a break, the bulk of Muhoozi's jokes, like you've said, are jokes. When is he serious?
Oh, there's so many times he's serious. I mean, yesterday he tweeted a couple of things. Listen, let me tell you. No, you are saying. Okay. But if you can't tell a joke from a non-joke, really, you need to go. I don't know where to send you because you should see that what Muhoozi says.
He wants to marry the Italian Prime Minister.
Yes. So you think that he's serious on that? You think that's a serious statement he's making, or he's joking? Really? You think I was serious that Uganda?
No, let
me ask you this. Let me ask you this. No. Russia and the Ukraine war, a lot of this has been very serious. He has been presenting serious views on it. Even the Eritrean case. In fact, I should tell you, Muhoozi helped in the resolution of the problem in Eritrea because the Ethiopian government was not listening to the problem of Tigray was not listening to the Tigrayans. At least he articulated the vision that these are people who need to be listened to. And when he went and met Prime Minister Abiy, you can see after he left, Abiy was able to reach out to the Tigrayans and they had talks and they have resolved their problems. He has tweeted about M23. And I think he's the most courageous person I have seen because there is an attempted genocide orchestrated by the state in Congo to exterminate Tutsi people in Congo who are Congolese. And the whole world is indifferent to their cause, and others are trying to hide behind sovereignty. Listen to this. Muhoozi has said the M23 have a genuine cause. They're an ethnic community that is being threatened with extermination by other ethnic communities, including the state of the DRC. And people in this country, people in this region, people in the international community want to hide that under the table. So he has exhibited tremendous courage, even on Russia. He has said NATO needs to recognize the security interests of Russia when it comes to integrating Ukraine into NATO. It poses an existential threat to the Russian Federation.
We'll take a very short break, and when we return, Andrew Mwenda will be sharing his views and perspective on the national politics and what he thinks should be the political game changer outside his pet subject of Muhoozi. Good morning.
You built a great business. Absage kuyambo kusesamu.
Home. Spacious, luxurious, quality and affordable. At BuildNet, we are in the business of building forever homes. Book an apartment with as low as 5 million shillings and let us take you home. Find us at Tintinda Complex Block B, first floor, or call us on the numbers below. BuildNet for quality and affordable housing.
Online safety tips for parents and children. Parents should set up parental controls to manage the kind of content children consume.
Encourage children to be mindful of the personal information they share online, like residence, telephone, age, or school. Ensure that your children use the internet in public places at home, like the living room, so as to monitor what they are doing. For more tips, visit www.consumer.co.ug.
Are you tired of high fees and slow transfer time when sending money? Look no further. Airtel Money is here to revolutionize the way you move your money. We have revised our rates, and now sending money from Airtel to other networks in Uganda, East Africa, and to the rest of the world has never been more affordable. Plus, you can trust Airtel Money to get your money where it needs to go quickly and safely. Simply dial *185# and start sending money. Switch to Airtel Money today and experience unbeatable rates and top-notch services for all your local and international money transfer needs. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
Welcome back. We're still talking politics with General Muhoozi's spokesperson, Andrew Mwenda. There's just a lot for us to digest around national politics. Where would you position your general in the political terrain where there is Museveni, Besigye, Bobi Wine, and other players?
First of all, I want to ask you to join the MK movement, the Muhoozi movement.
I'm not sure it's serious.
Well, when you see me as a spokesperson, it should tell you how serious it is. So you as my grandson,
speaking for a joke.
If you don't join, I will call the Council of Elders of the clan. No, for you, I will call the Elders Council of the clan, and we will throw you out of the clan. You know, when you throw out of the clan, what happens? It means when you die, you don't get buried in the clan's ancestral burial grounds. That means that your spirit will not find a permanent place of abode. So it will roam all over. So
I'll be
rest in peace. You will not rest in peace.
I will be a matter.
You will not rest in peace.
I will be a matter. But where?
So
where do you position your man, Muhoozi, in the political mix with Besigye, Bobi Wine?
But I should tell you that General Muhoozi is not in contest with his father.
The dynamite of politics.
Let me explain it to you. General Muhoozi is not in contest with his father. He's not in contest with Besigye. He's not in contest with Bobi Wine. He's not competing against or with those people. General Muhoozi, after all, is a grassroots movement that is saying this is the new Uganda that we want. It is a Uganda whose aim is Ugandans must be active participants in the control and management and ownership of this economy. We must invest heavily in manufacturing in order to create jobs, broad-based, low-skilled jobs, rather broad-based skills for the less.
Does Muhoozi really represent the Uganda we want? The provocative Uganda?
Whatever your views are, there is a widespread national movement.
The insultive Uganda?
But Kagwanjala, I thought you invited me for an interview to listen to the Muhoozi movement speech.
No, really. Is that the
because
Uganda
you're interrupting me every 2 seconds. Let me put it this way. Whatever you may think about General Muhoozi, you as a Kagwanjala, there is a grassroots movement. I have told you from Arua to Busia, from Kotido to Kisoro.
Ferid.
And Jesus Christ. And those people are saying this person called General Muhoozi Kainerugaba represents our aspirations.
It is.
So I want you as a political analyst.
I don't think you've really done any poll.
Let me tell you, you move around the country. If you want to confirm it, why sit here in the studios and speculate when you can go on the ground and feel it yourself? Go anywhere. You choose the place where you want to go. put a stick of Muhoozi on your car and see how many people will follow it. Whichever town you go in Uganda, it does not matter where you go. Even in Buganda here, you'll be surprised.
Out of fear and the quest for survival.
So, let me tell you, if people are so afraid, why would they stay in their houses? Why would they come to follow you and cheer you? Why? So the bottom line is this, that Ugandans, especially younger Ugandans, are speaking, I think, because the available alternatives have dissatisfied them. You can clearly see how NUP has fallen apart. You can see how Defiance has failed to advance. You get it. So people are looking for this alternative. And Muhoozi represents that alternative. Muhoozi is not Muhoozi. Muhoozi is a representative of an idea. And that's what I want you to understand. He represents an idea.
NUP remains a force to reckon with in the political game of the country, doesn't it?
You really think so? Unless NUP does a serious rethink, I think that NUP is exhausted. Defiance is exhausted. In fact, the rise of the Muhoozi movement is a symbol, a representation, and evidence of the failure of NUP and Defiance to offer an effective leadership of the aspirations of the people of Uganda. Those who are disenchanted with the government, and they are the vast majority. Maybe 70% of Ugandans or 60% are dissatisfied. 70% I would say. They are dissatisfied. And they don't find NUP or Defiance or others representing the aspirations. One of the reasons you see people like Mao, people like UPC and so many others are going back into NRM. The Bet Kamias, they went back into NRM because the opposition was unable to offer a stimulating, encouraging alternative. They keep saying, it's because Museveni has bribed them. Museveni was in the bush. Luwalo here, near Kampala. He did not even offer a salary. He did not offer food. He did not offer clothing. He offered nothing except an idea. People went and starved in the bushes of Luwelo in defense of that idea. Please listen to this carefully. In defense of that idea, I believe Ugandans, if properly inspired, can defend an idea to death with their lives. So the failures, the Muhoozi movement is a product of the failures of the opposition to offer inspiration to young people that they represent the future of this country.
Won't you find it prudent of your boss to first retire from the army? Because now, as it looks...
Retirement from the army is not an event, it's a process, and it is not in his hands. It is in the hands of the Army High Command, the Commander-in-Chief, and others.
Okay. Has he hinted on retiring from the army?
He has hinted his interest in the presidency depending on what his father decides. It was in a tweet yesterday. Did you read his tweet?
Yes, I did.
He said, if my father allows me to run in 2026, I will run. What more do you want? You don't even need me as
So there is a feeling that everything now is hinged on President Museveni. He's the one to...
Yes, he's a soldier in the army. He's a son of the president.
So he's going to anoint his son to stand.
In fact, his rise, if I was Museveni, and I'm sure he is, I would be intrigued because there is a movement taking place across the country. Muhoozi is not actively involved in organizing that movement or funding it. On the contrary, his only contribution to that movement has been, he has appeared, I think, at 3 events of it. He's going to Mbale and Kotido this weekend. So that is the only time. 5 events he has attended. If Muhoozi was available, as you wish, he would be. Hold a second, Kaiwanjala. There would be events in every. There would be events in every
officers are participating in political events.
But listen to
that's
this,
where
Kaiwanjala.
that's where the country.
If I was your listener there, and I came to listen to what the Muhoozi project is about, or the Muhoozi movement is about, I would be disappointed because the person who speaks on its behalf has not been given a chance to tell us what it is.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because his grandson Kagwanjala keeps interrupting so that I miss the gist of what this guy is saying. So allow me to give that gist. 1, this widespread national movement has emerged not because supported by the NRM. In fact, clearly you can see the old guard of the NRM are fighting it actively. Haven't you seen them? They have even started launching the Museveni candidacy because as a way to thwart this movement. So this movement has emerged.
So it is a threat to them.
In spate, yes, I told you earlier, it's a threat to them because remember that
Museveni is threatened by his son.
Let me tell you this. When Trump emerged in the Republican Party, he was a threat to the establishment. When Obama came, he was a threat to the establishment because they were entrenched interests. Those Hillary Clintons and the Bidens and others were the pillars of the Democratic Party. So at any one time, there are young people who may emerge, even today. There are new people may emerge in the Republican Party, in the Conservative Party. When Tony Blair emerged to create New Labour, New Labour, he was not creating a new party. He was just rebranding the old Labour Party. the interests that fought him. There is this man, I have just watched a documentary on YouTube, Jeremy Corbyn, when he was leader of the Labour Party in Britain. Go and see how the establishment fought him. So this is a healthy thing. The entrenched interest in NRM who want to maintain the status quo. But many young people feel NRM is tired. And it is tired physically. It is exhausted intellectually and ideologically. It needs someone to breathe fresh air into it. So, and these people have identified Muhoozi as this person to breathe fresh air into it. And Muhoozi's challenge is, how do you build this coalition without threatening the old guard, to offer them a soft landing, but say the future of this party and the future of Uganda lies in not just rebranding, but breathing fresh air in terms of fresh ideas, fresh policies, fresh innovations. These things that create jobs for younger Ugandans, that inspire Ugandans, that make them aspire more, you get it. So how do we address that challenge? That's what this movement is about. This movement needs what I would call organization to if you don't offer organization to such a movement, it becomes a mob. What organization does is it channels discontent into purposeful political behavior. The failures of other movements in Uganda that have contested against NRM have been failure to build effective organizational infrastructure to articulate people's grievances in a politically disciplined way. So what happens when there is no political discipline, which is provided by an organization, you have mob action. Mobs don't build things. Kaiwanjala, mobs don't build things. Mobs destroy things. I want you to know that.
Andrew, don't you think Muhoozi is haunted by his past record while still serving as an army officer, as a commander, for the kidnaps, the arrests, the murders that have happened?
Kagwanjala, really? Muhoozi has a stellar record in the military. He has fought in northern Uganda, he has fought in western Uganda, he has fought... let me first begin, because you are trying to... do you have any evidence that he was involved in the abductions?
No, he was at the helm, he was commanding as Commander Land Forces. He's responsible for the kidnaps and the murders that have happened.
How? Assuming someone
was accountable as the CEO.
My brother right now, General Kayanja Mahanga, is the commander of the land forces. Assuming they were kidnapped, you think he would be responsible?
Yes.
Who told you that the commander of land forces is the one who is responsible for? Who was arresting? Do you know who was arresting? Assuming these arrests were done by ESO, or maybe police. Would I choose? Yeah. But the commander of land forces doesn't command police. He doesn't command police. He doesn't command ESO or other intelligence organizations.
Men in military uniform.
Actually, they were men in civilian uniforms. I know the abductions. I witnessed one. They would drive cars with civilian number plates. They would wear civilian clothes, but would have guns. How can you accuse the commander of land forces that he was the one involved in that? You Kagwanjala.
So how clean is his record in the army?
Spotless clean. Like, get a white of paper. Can someone bring me a clean sheet of paper? White. That's how it is. By the way, let me tell you, I am very angry okay, not angry, but I'm very disappointed that Muhoozi left as commander of land forces. I want you to interview soldiers quietly, I will not speak. His short stint as commander of land forces, he had made things that had failed in UPD for the last 10 years move. In fact, I am very, very disappointed. Muhoozi should be appointed Minister of Defense. President Museveni, my advice to you, appoint Muhoozi Minister of Defense. What I have seen is that you need someone like Muhoozi to have effective executive authority to get certain things moving.
He's hinted on it.
They should make him Minister of Defense.
He's going to do a clean-up in the Ministry of Defense.
Let me give you, Kagwanjala, I know many Ugandans, including in the opposition, who, if they're given a particular power, they have the capacity to do things, but they may not have the confidence of Museveni, without which you can't enforce something. Hold a second, Kagwanjala. Please listen to this carefully, because this is a very important point. There are many competent Ugandans in RM, in the opposition, in the technical world, who can do great things, who can transform things. But I think the way Ugandans think, you need the confidence of Museveni. When Museveni put Amama there, people said, he wants to remove you. So Amama was fought and removed. So Museveni has this fear that maybe somebody can emerge and remove me. He may be much more comfortable with his brother or his son or whatever it is. And if they were given a particular authority, the public here will listen to them more because they know they're acting on his behalf. And therefore certain things can be done. You may have a theory in your head of how things ideally should be done. I am presenting the reality of Uganda. Hold a second, Kagwanjala. I'm presenting the reality of Uganda and how things can be done. So Muhoozi's short stint at CLF, interview UPDF, they will tell you what he did for that army in a few months.
You know, I put myself in the shoes of a person like Kakwenza when you say that Muhoozi has a claim.
Kakwenza is a fraud and a liar. Anyone who listens and believes that guy needs to be examined at Butabika. Kakwenza is a fraud and a liar. To say that Muhoozi personally went there, he wants to increase his profile so that these Western embassies who are always looking for an African to represent their prejudice about Africa, that Muhoozi would go to, who is Kakwenza? That Muhoozi would leave his office.
Why is everyone pointing at Muhoozi when it comes to stories of torture?
Because it makes sense for them to get the president's son, who is a general in the army, who has a spotless record, to drag him there because it improves their profile. Assuming they accused some small person who is unknown, how does it increase the profile of your case? So if you are Kakwenza and you claim it was Muhoozi, it increases your profile in the eyes of the public and your Western masters. That is why Kakwenza did that. But he's a fraud and a liar, and he should be seen for what he is. Of course, his torture by whoever did it is inexcusable, should be condemned, and those who tortured him, I believe, should be prosecuted. Listen to this. I don't believe in torture. Because I'm telling you, I know it was not him. Muhoozi has never met Kakwenza. Kakwenza has told stories. Muhoozi met me, we talked, we did this. Museveni called me and they offered me money. And it's a lie. And absolute total rubbish. He's a fraud. By the way, I'm so happy that the women he was abusing have come out to expose his fraudulent activities. Haven't you read those things? Including this white girl. What is her name? She's my granddaughter. How can I forget her name? She used to live here in Uganda and was deported because of noob activities. So anyway, whatever it is, women
Are you talking about Anne?
Yes, Anne who? Anne somebody. Yes, that girl. Hasn't she exposed him online? He defrauded her. He has defrauded so many people. They have exposed him on Twitter, including my former classmate, Stella Nyanzi. Read Stella Nyanzi's stories about Kakwenza. Kakwenza is a fraud. Let me leave his fraudulent activities. Kakwenza,
No, but he was tortured.
Which is a bad thing. Which is a very bad thing. I disagree with his torture.
By the army,
Kakwenza,
to
me
which
and you are
Muhoozi was
together.
the leader.
Me, Kakwenza, and you are together. I will defend your right not to be tortured. Trust me, I don't believe in torture. And I disagree with the way you write about people using bad and cultured language to insult people personally, and you call that you are an intellectual, and these Muzungu people call you up. If anyone in America wrote about a president the way he writes about President Museveni, describing their physical body and things like that, listen, cheap individuals discuss people. There are many ideas Kakwenza can articulate. We can disagree with Museveni without being disagreeable. We can disagree with Museveni without personally insulting him. Me, I have insulted Museveni on radio. He arrested me. The day I got, before I went to jail actually, I insulted him on Wednesday night. On Thursday morning, I wrote a long letter of apology. I personally drove it to State House. The president, they said it was busy. I wanted to give it to him personally, but I left it with Amelia. The next day, it was front page news in New Vision. Mwenda apologizes to Museveni. Even when I left jail, the first thing I did was go to State House to say, Mr. President, me, you are like a father to me. What I did is inexcusable. I feel so bad. I could even have committed suicide. When I listened to the tape, I couldn't believe I would have called the president a villager, a coward, and all those things. I was carried by the moment. So listen to this. So if you go and insult people, you have the right to insult. I have a right to come here dressed shabbily. But I try to make myself presentable on TV. I could have come here wearing a back cloth. Do you understand? So the fact that we have a right does not necessarily mean you should abuse that right. So Kakwenza has been involved in abuse of his right to freedom of expression. He has insulted the Muhoozi, he has insulted the president. He just uses insult because I think he's an empty-headed person who has no ideas to present except insults at people he disagrees with. But in spite of my extreme disagreement, vehement disagreement with his ways, and the fact that I know he's a fraud and a liar, I defend his right not to be tortured.
Well, we're getting out of here, but you have such a huge
I thought we had a whole day till evening to finish this Muhoozi project debate.
Speaking for a man who's been widely described as a loose cannon, gladly you've come out to say he jokes sometimes. Where do you start from in trying to portray him
First of all,
as a responsible
don't
person?
create fiction that widely. A small circle, that echo chamber in which you live, which says wild card, is not a representative of a significant section of this society. This Ugandan country, I'm telling you, across the whole country, there is a Muhoozi movement. You think those people are stupid?
What are they doing? What is that movement doing?
They're organizing from the grassroots, from the village, upward.
For
Muhoozi. And Muhoozi has not been involved. He has not. Let somebody challenge me that Muhoozi held a meeting with anybody, any group of people, to discuss a Muhoozi project.
People are organizing while he's appointing, and you say he's not
because
involved.
why would he get involved? I have told you he has been involved providing support to this movement purely using his Twitter handle. So recently, that day when he announced, I was flying to Portugal. I passed by his place to see him. We had a lengthy discussion. And one of the discussions was that this movement, you cannot sit and ignore it. They are asking for your leadership. There has to be some organizational infrastructure to give it, to convert the aspirations into purposeful political behavior. I believe that. Two, this movement needs also to articulate a vision or a message. What does it stand for? You need to provide leadership on that. Those two things, that if you leave it, it remains a mob. So now, and you see how reluctant he is. He said, okay, you, Andrew, be the spokesperson of it, okay? There are some people who are already performing some roles. We need to provide organization to these feelings, otherwise they will become...
Andrew, everything shows that Muhoozi is very deliberate on his campaign. The latest tweet he posted was about organizing Kampala. What exactly do you intend to do?
Let me ask you
Kampala?
this. But he has stated it. Kagwanjana, do you drive through Kampala? Do you see the state of our infrastructure?
It's messy.
Exactly. There are portals, some parts of Kampala. Here he says, having a developed Kampala with good infrastructure is a simple thing for the mighty MK movement to accomplish. I now require all our forces to concentrate on Kampala.
His father.
But Muhoozi has articulated this, that NRM, don't even say Muhoozi as an individual. I am saying Muhoozi is a representative of an idea. There are many young people who feel disenchanted, who feel disconnected, who feel disappointed by the performance of the government. The government and the NRM as a party, they have grown old, tired, and intellectually exhausted. They need freshness. The movement is saying we need to breathe fresh air into this stale movement. To bring freshness to this stale movement, we are looking at a person called Muhoozi Kainerugaba to be the leader of this movement. And he's responding to that. So you leave Muhoozi. Many people have made this
indictment. There is also a sense that these are your tweets. The tone looks like Mwenda.
So you don't think that Muhoozi has a brain?
You're the one tweeting for Muhoozi.
So are you saying, so Muhoozi doesn't, are you want to suggest that Muhoozi doesn't have a brain?
I didn't
so Kagwanjala, I am going to take you to have a discussion with Muhoozi. When you come back, don't lie on this show, because I know you're a politician. You ran for a constituency on a DP ticket. You may be you may be afraid that should you be, because you belong to a constituency that's hostile to Museveni. So you may be afraid that you will lose that constituency if you tell the truth about Muhoozi, because I will take you. You will have coffee with him, listen to him, challenge him. When you come back, tell the truth. By the way, another advantage he has over most Ugandans that I talk to, he reads widely. So he's one of the best informed Ugandans.
Well, we can't really exhaust this. Thank you very much, Andrew, for joining us
this morning. Next time, Simon, let us do this show from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., 12 hours non-stop.
Talking Muhoozi.
Yes, and then we can have calls. The Muhoozi army will flood this television. And today you have had your largest audience. Why? Because I'm across the country.
It should be one of the jokes coming from the spokesperson of the project, of the ambiguous project. Thank you very much, Andrew, for joining us this morning.
It was my pleasure.
Let the conversation continue. Could Muhoozi be the game changer for 2023 politics? And are we looking to more parties? Are we looking to more Muhoozi fetes?
Okay, invite me the next time to answer that
question. Thank you. Good day.
Get the most affordable 4G smartphone in Uganda from Airtel. Now heavily discounted from 250,000 shillings to 150,000 shillings only. Yes, 150,000 shillings only to keep you connected to your loved ones.
Dial *175*94# to activate free 1 GB instantly and 100% double data on all weekly and monthly bundles for 3 months. Get one today while stock lasts from the nearest Airtel shop. With Airtel, the smartphone network.
Times might have changed, but business has to continue. Next Conference Center will help you